chair. It's gonna cause problems, but we're gonna do this anyways. Okay. Alright, so hello everyone. My name is Warrior Guitars, and my bed's not made, but I wanted to bring to you guys I guess, video of a demonstration regarding Ur Spirit in its current state in patch 6.88. This will be a guide. This will be hopefully informative, no matter what skill rating you are, no matter how much you think you know the hero, because I plan to cover pretty much every element of the hero that I can. As such, I do apologize, but this will be a long and likely unedited video. I hope, however, to speak a lot more, or I guess a lot less colloquially and a lot more eloquently this time around, as opposed to probably, I'll say probably, but I definitely know that I could have done better in the Broodmother guide, and you probably feel the same way if you've watched that guide, that I did quite poor in my ability to condense information and make it easily digestible to the common viewer. So hopefully, if you're watching this, you won't fall asleep unless you like the soothing sound of my voice. I don't plan to do this in ASMR, so I do apologize for that. However, nonetheless, if you like my voice, nonetheless, you could probably fall asleep watching it, or listening to it rather. But for the people that are really here for solid and rigid information regarding a hero that they've always wanted to learn, or kind of know but want to learn more about, or even an expert on the hero that thinks, oh man, what does this guy know? Hopefully you can watch this, and again, no matter your skill rating, no matter how many games you think you understand about the hero, no matter how much you think you understand about the hero, I can teach you something regarding him. That is a good reminder that I should probably put myself to Do Not Disturb. So give me a second. I don't actually know how to do that. Dota's kind of weird. They don't have a Do Not Disturb mode on them. I don't think. I can't, if I want to block party invites, you just gotta block the person, which is unfortunate. I'll just do this. Hopefully they will not do that again. I trust they won't. I trust that you won't do that again. Thank you very much. Anyways, a few keynotes about Ur Spirit. Especially in 6.88, this is the time to learn this hero. I keep saying that every single time Ur Spirit gets nerfed. It's not the time to forget about him, it's the time that you should learn him. If you don't know anything about this hero and have always been interested in getting into this hero, this is the time to get into the hero. The more that he gets nerfed, the more realistic of a hero that he becomes in game, right? The more understandable his power level is, and the more realistic of a hero he is compared to other heroes. And so as a result, the more interested you should become and invested in the hero, not less. It shouldn't be the other way. I know it seems like it's the other way around. It's ew, 6.86, they removed his ability to pull allies without an Aghanim Scepter. That's so gross, what a bad hero. I know that seems like the valid response, and if you're an outsider looking in, it's completely viable to think as a knee-jerk reaction, what a gross hero, why would I ever learn him? But be a little bit realistic with yourself. Just because a hero's overpowered should not mean that you should want to learn that hero and gain cheesy MMR with them. No, you should want to learn a hero because of the way that they can contribute to games despite their power level, right? You should want to learn a hero because of their theme, or their lore, or their skill set, or the skill ceiling that you see on said hero. That was personally the reason that I learned him. I thought, man, that's the kind of hero that I'm a StarCraft player. That's my background. So I can show you guys my Dota buff real quick, and I suppose I probably should if I'm going to make a guide and try to show qualifications for this hero, or any hero really. I've been doing this. I'm sorry, I don't have this preloaded because I didn't plan on doing this. This is it. As of to date, I have 869 games on Ur Spirit with a 59.26% win rate. Some of these, keep in mind, are not ranked games, and not all of these are at the caliber of play that some might deem impressive. Currently, it's a little bugged. I don't know why it says 4175. I'm currently a 4400 MMR player. Dropped a lot since I last made a guide on Air Spirit, but most of the time that I do pick Air Spirit, I pick him in like my 5 or 6K games, 5 or 6K average games, because that's when I feel most confident about picking the hero. That's when I feel like he's better. He's good. He works well with teams that are themselves good at the game, but that's besides the point. And yeah, that's like my qualifications on Earth Spirit. You'll generally not see, or you probably shouldn't expect yourself if you're playing Earth Spirit, an insane KDA on him. I hope that goes without saying, but just in case that doesn't, he is a support hero. I guess I should probably explain all these things that I think are obvious. Earth Spirit's a 4-position, typically speaking, support-based hero. I'm not going to go over his abilities, except for the interactions that are weird with them, but basically as a kick that you can use on heroes and allies and enemies and stones and units. He just kicks things forward some X amount of units that scales up and based on the level of the ability, unless you're kicking a stone, in which case it always goes in approximated range. It does some nuke damage, but it's not like the core of the ability. It's never the core of any of this hero's abilities are never are the core of any of this hero's abilities are the damages that they deal, unless it's his ulti. That's pretty much almost solely damage based. But here you go. In case you want to know anything about him, the specifics aren't really that important, especially if you're learning the hero. I would recommend, if you are taking a beginner's approach to this hero, that you don't focus too much on the specifics. You'll literally bleed your ears out if I sit here and tell you every single aspect of these abilities. If I sit here and tell you that Aghanim Scepter is the best item to get against Clockwork because it lets you pull allies away no matter the situation, that's fun and all to hear, and like that's kind of interesting to think about. But if I tell you all of these interactions and stuff that I've learned over the course of me playing 850 games or 69 whatever games on this hero, it will not do either of us that much good. So just basically going over his abilities. Boulder Smash, it again, distance scales up based on its level, so it's not like you can level 1 kick somebody fucking yards away, but it does scale up to, 800 range, for instance, is I think almost the range, if not the range of a Force Staff. Furthering that, it's basically 3/4 of a Blink Dagger, if you wanted to think of it that way as well. It's a pretty good ability. The stun is the big thing. If you kick a stone, it will stun in an area of effect as the stone travels along enemies, creeps, neutrals, anything. It will stun it. That's not magic immune, of course, for 2 and almost a half second, 2 1/4 second, 2.25 seconds. It's a pretty significant stun, especially when you consider the fact that it also does damage, pretty okay damage, but again, it's never ever the core of the ability. Damage should never be what you're looking at this hero for if you're drafting him. But it stuns them for a pretty significant duration. It's of course AoE, so that's also sick. You can get 5-man stuns, also known as Ravages, basically Kappa. And it's a pretty good ability. Again, to get the stun and the damage, you need to kick a stone. I don't know if I mentioned that, so I shouldn't say again, but basically you do need to hit a stone with this ability to get the damage element of it. And I will show some nuances of this ability in a demo mode real quick. A little bit down the road, I just want to explain his other abilities. Roll. I should talk about the cooldowns. I will talk about, like I said, I don't want to overflow anybody with information, but specifically Roll, I think, is an ability that we should talk about its cooldown for. So Rolling Boulder, pretty good ability. It is your main escape. It is your main initiation. It is generally the reason why I did not build Blink Dagger on this hero for the longest time, and the reason why I still have hesitation on building the Blink Dagger on this hero for, because this ability almost renders that item. It renders it kind of in an interesting spot. Basically, this is an 800 unit distance roll, unless you hit a stone with it, which does crush the stone that you are rolling with, but then it bumps it up to a 1600 distance roll. The speed, 800 speed for reference, I believe Spirit Breaker's max. Let's check. I'm just gonna, because everybody knows the speed at which Spirit Breaker goes when he charges at like max rank. So I think 800 speed. I know that's almost the speed of his kick, for instance. So when you kick a unit, it's 900 speed. 800 speed is like A little bit less. Okay, yeah. So this is still 50 units faster than Spirit Breaker's charge. So you think of Spirit Breaker when he's maximum rank charging you, you're still gonna roll quicker than that hero, and you will roll for 800 distance, which again, that's like pretty much a Force Staff. That's I think Force Staff is 860 or 900. My numericals are a little bit off, but just know that it's a pretty good speed and a pretty good distance even without a roll. It's or without a stone. It's definitely enough and should be enough. You should not be using a stone if you're trying to get up to cliffs to deward things, or if you're trying to just simply roll across like a cavern. Or a chasm or a crevice or whatever to try to get up onto high ground or get onto low ground when there's a gap in between you and another hero. You generally don't need to waste a stone on that. But if you're rolling away from a gank, or if you are trying to initiate a gank of your own, you should be using a stone to get that double speed and that double range. 1600 range is ginormous. I guess I could show you guys in a custom game, but if you've played this hero like once or twice in your entire life and you haven't ever put a stone in front of this hero when he rolls, you should definitely give it a shot because he's like a race car for a few seconds. The few seconds that he is rolling, it is absolutely absurd. The damage in the slow, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Earth Spirit is the only hero in the game with 3 crowd controlling abilities. All 3 different crowd controlling abilities: slow, silence, and stun in his kit innately, which is pretty sick. But the slow and the cooldown scale. The slow doesn't scale in a ginormous way. I mean, 0.2 seconds of especially a slow, which isn't something that is like highly valued as a crowd control ability, even though it is 80%, which is pretty significant. The slow doesn't scale up insanely. They just recently nerfed it so that it wasn't 2 seconds at all ranks, though, which does further help people get away from ganks when Earth Spirit's rolling in the mid game, or when in the early to mid game, because you generally do not max this ability out first. But the slow does scale up in a very slight manner, but the main reason why you're going to want to level its ability up is for the cooldown. It drops drastically. Given the overall power level of this ability, being able to roll every 4 seconds is quite significant, and especially on a mana cost of 50, is really not too much to complain about. This ability is insanely good. Another interesting, not sure as to whether or not this is meant to be in the game, but it's definitely interesting element to this ability is that the spell immunity piercing tooltip here is kind of misleading. You will in fact slow heroes if you hit them with a stone if they're BKB'd. You will not do damage to them. Well, you won't do the 100 nuke damage that it does. And for the record, by the way, just on that note, it will only do 100 damage always. It will never do 150 damage if you put a stone. It doesn't empower. Stones do not empower this ability in any way outside of the speed and the distance at which you're rolling. And it adds a slow. It does not add a slow. You do not slow people, you do not roll as quickly, and you do not roll as far without a stone with this ability. But the stone will not add damage no matter what. Again, see, like, if you're already confused, this is why I was kind of nervous about explaining this hero's abilities in detail. You don't need to know any of this nitty-gritty information. I guarantee that if you've never played this hero before, your first few games are just going to be like, oh, pull, fucking kick, shit, somebody's silenced, somebody's not stunned. You're going to be not understanding your abilities, and you're going to be like overusing stones. And don't read too much into what I'm explaining. Most of what I'm explaining here on the nitty gritty are for the people that have like 50 to 100 games that don't know the nuances of the abilities themselves, because these are important. Knowing that you can roll out of a Slark Pounce leash isn't super important when you first start playing this hero, because I doubt you're going to get counterpicked, and even if you do counterpick or get counterpicked, it's the reason that you're getting away from Slark isn't probably going to be because you're rolling. It's probably just you're going to be kicking them away or some shit like that. I don't know. It's not that important that you know that interaction, but that is an interaction that does really help you out if you're like offlaning against him, or if you're just in a game with him and he comes out of Shadow Blade and he jumps on you. You can just kick him away and you can roll out of his leash. It's pretty helpful to know that, but there's so many interactions like that I can't explain all of them. However, for the people that have a few games with this hero that kind of under their belt and they kind of know what they're doing with them, it is important to note that if you hit a BKB target with this ability and you roll into them with a stone, it will still slow them for the duration. It will not do the damage, but it will slow them, which is kind of cool. Your pull, this used to be like the most insane thing in the game, and then they nerfed it so you need an Aghanim Scepter to pull allies, and no, it's not as fun. But the pull is the ability that it has an inverse relationship with your kick, in the sense that it will do the damage if you have a stone, but not do the damage if you don't have a stone. Whereas the kick always does the damage, but will only do the crowd control if you have a stone, and again, it will not do the crowd control if you do not use a stone. Does that make sense? So if I pull an ally, Generally speaking, if you're pulling allies, you're going to be doing it on creeps because of the nerf. You can't pull allied heroes without an Aghanim Scepter, and you can't pull enemies heroes. It has to be allied units or allied heroes if you have an Aghanim Scepter. So if you pull a unit that is allied to you, you will apply a silence. The duration scales, starts at 2.5 seconds. It's a pretty solid silence. Scales up to 4. It's really solid. And it pulls it at a pretty quick rate. 1,000 speed is even quicker than the kick rate. Dodging this ability is, as the main target, it's almost impossible. This is like your setup, kind of. Especially as a newer Spirit player, this was the way that I set up all my combos. And especially after the 6.87 nerf, I'm not ever hesitant to set up a combo with a pull nowadays. It's pretty much the most guaranteed thing in the game. If you put a stone and instantly pull afterwards, and again, I'll show that in a custom game real quick, you're probably going to silence that target. And it's pretty powerful for that reason alone. It's like that instant, like, oh, CM just started ulting, let me just pull a stone on her real quick. It won't take me any more than a quarter of a second, and I just silenced her for 4 seconds and did 200 nuke damage to boot. Like, it's pretty sick. That's all cool. Stone Remnants, this is like the core of the hero. It's based off the Terracotta Army or whatever, if you like that lore shit. The key thing to note here is you can have 6 of them at a time. They restore every 30 seconds, but they last 120 seconds. And so what that means is that when you hit 6 stones, if you don't see a fight on the horizon for the next 30 seconds, you should just drop a stone down. There's chances are that stone that you just dropped will refresh in the time that it takes you to get into a fight. So the chances are that when you drop the stone, 30 seconds will pass before a team fight happens because you're using that foresight. You're like, okay, I can see that we're not they're all in their fountain, we're all in our fountain, and may as well just drop a stone, even if it's under your ancient, who cares? More specifically, if you're just walking around the map and you see that, you know, some heroes aren't really close, you should just drop a stone because it'll last for 2 minutes and it'll recharge in 30 seconds. It is the core of the hero, so to call it a good or a bad ability is very weird. Magnetize, just some real key nuances on this ability. I'm not going to go into too many things specifically, but it's a dot that you put on somebody, dot damage over time, lasts for 6 seconds, and it does 50 damage a second. Really, really, really powerful. Even in the late game, this is still a very powerful ability. Just in the late game, usually people have very, very high health pools, and then also purges, and then also BKBs, and then also pipes. So it does kind of wane in its ability to be powerful. But it's still very strong. You still upgrade this ability at every rank that you can because it's such a good ability. Especially now that they nerfed it in 6.88 to have a scaling down cooldown, you definitely want this thing leveled up as many times as possible. Even shaving 20 seconds off the cooldown is significant. But regardless, it does some damage over time. Every time you drop a stone on somebody, it will refresh the duration. That is straight up refresh it all the way up to the 6-second duration. So you can effectively have this ability, or this Ebola as people like to call it, on somebody for 36, I think 42, because you pop it on somebody, then that, you know, almost 6 seconds is up. You pop a stone on, then it's 12, then you pop another stone, that's 18, pop another stone, that's 24, pop another stone, that's 30, pop another stone, that's 36, and then pop another stone, that's your 6th stone, then that's 42. And then you can pop another stone because it took 42 seconds, which means you have another stone up recharged, so you have 48 seconds of Ebola. I mean, that's 4,800 damage. That's the most overpowered thing in the game. That has never ever happened to me in any of my games. I have never ulted somebody and been able to unload a full charge of stones at their very last second. Because generally speaking, when you ult people, what you want to be taking advantage of is the secondary elements of Magnetize, which is not damage exclusive. The ability spreads to other people. It's why they call it. What's one of the reasons they call it Ebola. And what I mean by this is when you pop a stone down on somebody, and I'll show this in a demo mode now because we've gone over all of his abilities. When you pop a stone on somebody, say pop a stone, but really what I mean is you drop one right on top of them or around them or in the general vicinity of where they are magnetized. What happens is the ability spreads effectively. You know, it's spread. You can see where the Ebola memes are coming through, but we'll just do a level up 25. We'll spawn an axe. We'll spawn a few axes here. We'll level them up so they don't die in 2 shots. We'll move them, like, kind of spread it out here. Okay, alright, so if I have an axe that's like right here, he's going to start my domino chain. So I walk over, I get my abilities leveled up, and then I just like ult, you know, or whatever. Let's do ult vision just so we can see this. Ult him. Oh my god, refresh. Alright, so we ult him. Then we pop a stone over here, it'll jump to these 2 guys, and I'll pop a stone right here, it'll jump to these 3 guys, and then I'll drop a stone right here, I'll drop to all these guys, and then I drop a stone right here, and I'll just spread these 2. Only these 2. So you can see it's only these two. So this guy's Ebola should leave before these guys' Ebola left. Especially if you're really new to Ebola or Spirit, you won't really understand what I just did. The only thing that you'll really understand is the fact that I just kept refreshing it onto people. But and that's really all you need to do. For your first few games as Earth Spirit, you're going to lose the game no matter what you do, and you're just going to have to accept that. Learning this hero takes time. It does not take no brains, or I guess it doesn't take a lack of a brain. It does take a brain to play this hero, and you will need to learn things while you're playing. And one of the things that you need to learn is the nuances of his ulti. Right? If you ulti people, another fun thing that I was going to try to get into is that if you pull, that doesn't really represent what I'm trying to show, but if you ulti people, you get the Ebola spreading. This is kind of like a reward mechanic or whatever for playing the hero well. You get the Ebola going here or whatever, and then if I pull a stone right here, it silences everybody. Look at that. I only pulled it on these two targets, and these guys are all silenced. Well, they were. That's a very powerful tool, but one that you will likely take a little bit to master and stuff like that. But it's okay, because you don't need to know how to do that to be effective with Earth Spirit. Honestly, the hero's power level probably is still a little bit too strong, and the only real thing you need to do to get the game rolling and to get the ball in your court, so to speak, to get the game getting into your favor and kind of being overpowered on Earth Spirit is you just gotta hit your rolls. You just gotta be able to hit your rolls and then stun the target afterwards. That's really all you gotta do. You do that, and I promise you'll win a lot of your games, because most of the games that I have, and most of the games that likely you have as well, are pubs that are decided in the early game because people like to leave and rage quit and give up on the game way before the game's actually decided. And so all you really gotta do is get that ball rolling, or that stone rolling, so to speak, Kappa, and people will start rage quitting, and you'll start winning a lot of your games before they really have a chance to get decided. So anyways, now that is out of the way, that is his abilities. I do apologize if that was not in-depth enough, or if that was too in-depth. I had to cover all my bases, but I also had to be concise because I don't want this guide being too long, and I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. So yeah, I hope that was informative enough, but not too stupid. I just want to give a quick overview. Earth Spirit in 6.88, he is still a strong hero, as kind of I've talked about earlier. He's a strong hero, especially for solo queue. I know that sounds a little weird. You think, whoa, Earth Spirit requires all this coordination. He's actually really strong in solo queue. And one of the reasons for that is because, like I mentioned earlier, he's the only hero in the game that has a slow, silence, and stun, and they can all effectively be area of effect, as I mentioned earlier. The silence and the stun, slow can be propagated out. They can propagate Ebola. They can be spread out with the usage of your ulti. Your stun cannot. You have to hit people. You have to just straight up hit multiple people with your ulti. You can't just hit one person and then everybody else has Ebola on them, so they get stunned too. That would be crazy broken. But you can definitely silence and slow people in an area of effect. So he is essentially the only hero in the game with an AoE slow, silence, and stun. Not only does he wear the hat of three of having all three of these abilities that crowd control, but he also has all these abilities that can crowd control in an area of effect without the use of items. So it's pretty cool. He's still considerably tankier than most other supports. He has a 2.9 strength gain, and I believe 3 base armor, although I think it's closer to 4. Can we check his stats? I wish you could check his stats. That's my stats. About doesn't show his stats. I'll just check on. It's not really too important. I know that his stat growth for his agility is rather lackluster. It's something like 1.2 or 1.5 or something. That's 1.5 agility growth, but he's got 2.9 strength gain, a base strength of 21, which is around a health pool of like 620. He's got here it is right here. He's got 3 base armor, but it's 3.5 base armor, and he gets eventually to 11 armor at level 25. Usually your games as Earth Spirit will go you'll be effective at around level 11, at which point you're I think you're around 5 or 6 armor with no items. You'll usually have a stick or wand even, so you'll have some stats. You'll generally be around 7 or 8 armor when you're most effective, and then in the later stages of the game, if you get a Shivers or something, or even an Axe, you'll get your armor levels up to above 10, and that's really comfortable. As a support, having more than 10 armor is really nice, and Earth Spirit can always pretty much achieve more than 10 armor. Hell, even at level 25, he's got 11 armor. As Dotabuff says. He's got 2.1 intelligence growth, that coupled with the fact that his abilities are relatively low cooldown, but also relatively low mana cost means that you will be using abilities a lot, but they don't cost a whole lot of mana. So it's nice to have that burst mana regen for fights. I like to carry Magos around on this hero. You don't need a huge mana pool to use something like a Skywrath Mage ulti or a Storm Spirit ulti. You just need consistent mana regen or a way to get sustenance in the middle of a fight if you want to cast your abilities quite frequently. For instance, his stun, the AoE, as I mentioned earlier, the kick, has a 10-second cooldown. You will probably get 2, maybe even 3 stuns off in a fight. And his full rotation of spells, if you want to use every single spell, which is completely and totally understandable because this hero can very much combo all of his abilities together, to roll in costs 50, to stun the target when you're on top of them costs 100, to pull the stone that you just stunned back in costs 200 with the stun in the pull combined. That's 250 because of the roll in that we just did, and then another 100 on top of that if you want to use your ulti afterwards or before. Generally, you want to put your ulti on before any of that to get the damage going. So it's 350 mana for his entire rotation. It's kind of costly, but when you think about it, that's on the lower end of some other heroes with their mana costs. For instance, Enigma costs like 600 or 700 to get his full rotation off at a level 16 with Black Hole at level 3. So, Earth Spirit's spells really don't cost a lot of mana, and his intelligence growth to compensate, even though it got nerfed a little while back, it's 2.1. That's still very acceptable. His mana pool is it's like 600 at level 16. You can deal with that no problem, especially if you just get basic mana boosting items like Arcanes, especially for your first few games. I definitely recommend Arcanes on Earth Spirit, pretty much no question. It'll help you, it'll help your team out for managing mana, but we'll talk about item builds in a little bit. But there's Stick, which gives you 4 extra intelligence. It's like 50 or 60 extra mana. There's a bunch of items that you can get that will either boost your mana or your mana regen. For instance, Earn, and they're all cheap support-based items that you want to buy anyways on a hero like this. That's his stats. He's kind of on the slower end of things. He's got 295 movement speed. He used to have 305, and that was really nice. But 295 movement speed, that's still quicker than like a Lion or a Shadow Shaman, so unless they are running up to you with Tranquils before you have your boots, you will be able to get away from them pretty much no problem. That's nice, I guess. That's a nice feature. 295 is basically, I can roam around the map, but it's going to take me a little while to get from place to place, is basically what that movement speed means. It's not a big deal or anything like that. Trying to think of other elements. And other key noteworthy things to point out about this hero stats before we get into the game. It's attack animation. I can't remember if it's his attack point specifically or what it is, but it's a very fluid and good motion. Basically what I'm trying to say is you should try to get auto attacks in between your spells, especially early game, every single chance you get. And you need to really get a flow or a feel rather for this hero's ability, or for his auto attack, because he does do significant damage. His base damage at level 1 is something like 51. That's pretty good, especially for a hero that can slow and get into melee range of targets and then stun them afterwards. Like, it is not uncommon for you to roll into somebody, auto-attack them twice, and then kick them, and then auto-attack them a third and even a fourth time. It's one of the reasons why we buy Orb of Venom in the starting item build. But again, we'll get into that later. I just wanted to say those are kind of like the noteworthy things about his stats that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't really want to get into anything else before I start talking about replays and then the kind of meat and potatoes of this guide, so let's get into that. As I was saying, he's a pretty good support. He's considerably tanky. His build diversity is still insane, and that's really helpful in solo queue. Basically, as Earth Spirit, you can build anything outside of right-click and make it work, and I mean literally anything outside of right-click. I have built Radiance on this hero and made it work. I have built Dagon on this hero and made it work. In ranked games of the 4 to 5K bracket, usually these are games that I'm stomping, but honestly, if you're stomping, if you find yourself getting insane amounts of kills as a hero like Earth Spirit, and you can get like a 20-minute Radiance while buying support items, you may as well do it, man. It'll help you snowball and close out the game. Makes you tankier, makes your team tankier. Further makes it so that the enemy can just buy a BKB and kill you or not deal with you at all. But if you're snowballing that heavily, you should know that you're shutting them down so hard. You should be able to gauge how hard you're shutting them down and denying them a farm to be able to be like, yeah, I can buy a Radiance here, and he won't be able to farm a BKB fast enough for me to be able to end the game. So, that being said, yes, you can buy almost any item outside of right-click and make it work. And I've even built right-click on this layer and made it work sometimes. Not in, I don't think I've ever done that in a ranked game, just because I am very scared of losing ladder points. But like I built like Armlet Battle Fury. Whatever. I'm getting off topic and into trolley builds, but yeah, he's got insane build diversity. Pipe, Mech, Veil, Greaves, Yules, Blink Dagger, Aghanims. These are all great items under Spirit, and you can build pretty much any single one of them that you choose to at any point in the game, I think. I don't think there's ever one of those items that I've been like, no, if I get that, I won't be able to have the mana to use it, or no, if I get that, it just won't work. Or like, I can. you're not like a Shadow Shaman who, if you get a pipe, you have to get up close to your teammates to use pipe, but then run away. It just doesn't work, and you want to get a Blink Dagger at a certain time. Like, no, Earth Spirit's not constrained by squishiness. By his squishiness and inability to use items, or his mobility and inability to use items as a result. Some heroes have to think, man, if I don't get a Blink Dagger, I won't be able to blink in and use the items that I'm buying, like Euls. I can't buy Euls first, otherwise I won't have the ability to just blink into somebody's range and do things. But Earth Spirit does not have to worry about that. He can buy a Blink Dagger first, which really helps out his catch and allows him to use his combo without having to start with his roll and hit targets with it, but you don't have to, you can also just go the stat route. It's all dependent on the game, and what makes a good Earth Spirit player isn't always the ability to mechanically play the hero, but sometimes it's that ability to recognize the situations that you need to choose better items. And I've certainly lost games before as Earth Spirit where I've been playing super soundly and just owning the mechanical side of this hero, but then I'll just lose it because I bought the wrong item for the wrong situation. The main underlying theme for this guide, though, he is a strong hero for pubs, but the main underlying theme for this guide, and I want you to keep this in mind all throughout my discussion here of Earth Spirit as a hero, is that sometimes, for better or for worse, you have to play support, the bitch 5 support as Earth Spirit. There's just no way around it. You cannot go into every game spamming Earth Spirit, especially if you're like a viewer and you're in the 3 to 4K bracket. You can't play this hero all the time and spam him for a bunch of games in your ranked games to get better at him and win MMR and just expect to always be the 4th position support. Sometimes you're just going to have to suck it up and be the 5th position. Sometimes I play with Draxel, if you know him. The other day I played with Draxel. He streams on Twitch. And we're actually going to look at that replay too, just because it's one of the more recent replays that hasn't gotten expired. But this game I played, I picked Earth Spirit, and this is the first replay we're going to look at. I picked Earth Spirit, I picked him second. Timbersaw picked first, and I picked Earth Spirit second. And I was like, okay, I'll pick Earth Spirit here, because I don't really care. Like, Earth Spirit's not a hero that gets countered by anything, and hopefully we can talk about that. But there's not really hard counters for Earth Spirit, because if you're trying to hard counter Earth Spirit, you're doing the picking stage wrong. It's not right to counterpick a 4th position support like Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit's not an enigma. His impact is not based solely on one ability, and as a result, it's difficult to counterpick a hero like this because he's not just magnetized. So just counterdrafting with a purge is not going to win you the game. It does help. Abaddon does help against Earth Spirit. Slark does help against Earth Spirit. But if you're counterpicking Earth Spirit thinking Slark is good here only because of Earth Spirit, Slark isn't good there, because if we have a Lina and an Earth Spirit and you're trying to counterpick the Earth Spirit with a Slark, you're going to get bursted down by the Lina. So what I'm trying to say is, essentially, I picked Earth Spirit second. I was like, okay, I'll help my team out here it's a solo queue game, I'll help my team out by picking Earth Spirit second. I probably should have picked him first. I'll pick the 4th position right now. All we need is a solid 5th position support, and it can be greedy because I picked my hero so quickly. And then this guy turns around and picks Legion Commander Jungle, and then I was basically stuck being the 5th position Earth Spirit support, which it's never fun, I'll say that. It works out, like in this game we won, because I was just playing the super bitch and my team could buy any item in the world. They never had to worry about wards or any of that shit. It also worked because my team played well, but what I'm trying to get at is you don't want to play the 5th position support, but you will have to play the 5th position support sometimes because people don't understand this hero and they will pick junglers or they will pick other 4th position supports like Omni Knight, which is actually in another replay that we're going to be watching. I don't actually remember if I got a proper 5th position. Oh yeah, in this game the Lina played I think a real 5th position support. But in this game that I won recently, I had an Omni Knight on my team that just refused to play the 5th position, so I had to play 5th position. So yeah, that's the main underlying theme for this guide. Sometimes you're just going to have to be the bitch 5, and you're not going to be able to play your Spirit effectively because of it. Because even though this hero is very item diverse, or I guess diverse in his ability to buy items, he does need items. Like, you can buy a lot of items, but you do need some of those. You need to actually be able to buy those items to be effective, and not having any items on this hero is really unfortunate. So if you suspect that you're going to have to be the only support for your team, I really urge you not to play Earth Spirit. This is not like my plea to tell other people to play 5th position support. I'm not trying to convince people to play 5th position support more often so I could secretly pick Earth Spirit all the time or anything like that and win all my games or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I'm saying this for your own good. Like, if you think you have to be the 5th position, do not play Earth Spirit, okay? I'm not telling you to pick the 5th position. I'm just saying if you think you have to be 5th position, don't fall back on Earth Spirit. I've written a guide for Oracle. I've published it. It's kind of shoddy, admittedly. It's not the best guide that I've ever made in my entire life. But go play Oracle or something like that, or Chen. Right, Chen's a pretty cool hero. You can always just be a pleb and pick Lion too, but that's no fun. So I wouldn't recommend him because he's fucking Lion, man. Anyways, playing the fourth role as Earth Spirit usually means that you want to leave the base having bought either, but not both, the wards or the courier. And I think this is a good time to actually load into this replay. Mostly for solo queue, this is kind of something that you want to do to encourage your fifth position that he's not in it all by himself. If you're playing competitive, or if you're playing, I said competitive because I've been playing a little bit of Overwatch. If you're playing ranked fives and you know your fifth position support, you can coordinate with them and say, hey, I'd really like to get X items. I'd really like to get extra regen. Can you just, Disruptor or Lion or Lena, can you just buy all the support items so I can get extra regen and roam more effectively? You can say that to your teammates. But in pubs, I like to buy either both the wards or the courier at the start of the game because I want to honestly, genuinely speaking, I want to just boost the morale of my team by letting my support know, hey, you don't have to be the total bitch here. Again, note that you are the fourth position support, you're not the fifth position. You don't want to buy both of these items. It is a cardinal sin as a fourth position to need to buy both of these items. If you have to buy both of these items, you shouldn't have picked Earth Spirit to begin with, or your team fucked up somehow. Generally, I personally opt for buying the wards in the early game, and here you can see this guy first picked Timbersaw, or this guy first picked Bounty, and this guy picked Timbersaw, and this guy picked Beastmaster, and I was like, oh shit, whatever, I'll just pick Earth Spirit here as a comfort pick. He's not like, he's not awesome here or anything like that, but I can pick Earth Spirit, and I can pretty much, like I said earlier, he doesn't really have any hard counters or anything like that make me think, damn, dude, we're going to lose this game because I picked Earth Spirit and they picked this hero. Because, again, you don't want to counter pick Earth Spirit. So I just, Earth Spirit's a great pick here. I can get an Ags and pull people away from Beastmaster when he targets people. I can carry Dust around all day and kill this Bounty Hunter. I've got tools and toolbox that can counter other heroes that will show up because they don't know anything about Earth Spirit. And then they pick Veno, they pick their fifth position, and then this guy picks Shadow Fiend. And then I'm still waiting for that support pick. They pick Huskar, and this guy's just like, okay, this is Draxel, by the way. Again, I'm not trying to put any shade on anybody, but fuck people that pick Legion Commander Jungle, honestly. So, anyways, we're entering the game with more late game than them, and yeah, we're going to go through player perspective here. And I'm going to get on the topic that I was speaking about, which was I do opt to buy the wards in the early game over the courier. Even though the wards cost more money, buying 2 wards, an Orb of Venom, and a Tango and a Clarity is completely feasible. You can buy all of those items and leave the base with like 15 gold. And I like to do that because I like to have control over my team's vision. I found that even in the 6K bracket, people just don't know how to ward in this game, and I guess I kind of feel overdue for like a warding guide, but if you watch my stream, you'll pretty much get a feel for how to ward and how I ward in general, which is, you just start the game. If your offlaner wants a ward, you give him a ward. If he doesn't ask, don't even give it to him. Be greedy. Help your other lanes out if they need it. If your offlaner feels like he's sufficient without a ward, don't force a ward on him. If you have a Broodmother on your team and he doesn't need your ward because he's not going to worry about ganks anyways, don't give him a ward. Keep that ward and place it mid, and then place the other ward in the off lane. And as an Earth Spirit, you can take full advantage of all that vision. You can gank the fuck out of people. And so, yeah. That's why I buy the wards. And we'll talk about like warding placement here. I give my Shadow Fiend a ward here. He's a 6.5k player and he asked for a ward, and I was like, I better make him happy. So I give him a Sentry. I believe I give the Timbersaw ward because he was like ward fast. He told me to give him ward, so I was just like, or whatever the fuck. I give the Shadow Fiend a Tango as well. I think I do give my Shadow Fiend this extra. Yeah, I gave him a ward and a Sentry, but I would have had no problem keeping. No, I didn't even give him the ward. I don't think I gave the Timbersaw the ward, and I kept it for myself because I was like, I don't care if this guy is a fucking 8k, 9k miracle god. I will keep this ward because I bet as a mid player he does not know how to ward. Because again, if you've played any pub games in your life, you'll see people just warding on obvious spots or warding in locations where they shouldn't be warding, and I just feel like I'd probably do my team a better service to them if I just take care of the warding. I don't know, maybe it's a selfish way to look at the game, but I guarantee if I gave this guy the ward, he'd probably place it, like, he'd probably walk up to their cliff and just place it right here, and the turret would spot it out, or the tower, sorry, would spot it out, and they'd counter ward it. Placing it here, I think, is just barely out of the vision range of them. I could check. Maybe I'm just gonna, like, eat my own words here. Yeah, I placed it, I believe, right here, so I don't think they saw me place it. But if they did, I'm a huge hypocrite, and I'm not going to go back to watch the replay to prove myself incorrect. So you're just going to have to deal with it. Regardless, I'll keep all the wards that I can and give my team as much vision as possible from my own perspective because I just want to keep the wards for myself because I feel like I have an idea of where I want to place these wards. Placed a ward mid on the mid-high ground that really helps your mid laner out. Also, pulling them tangos helps them out a lot. I told him I won't pull you two unless you need it, which means I'm going to be ganking for his lane, so I'll be nearby in case I need to pull him the other tango. He should have no problem out laning a Huskar anyways. Huskar's kind of a bad mid laner, especially if two people are trying to kill him. And so here I am, just walking around doing some shit, trying to guarantee my PA the safe lane. But there's only so much that you can do as a melee support in a lane where you have literally just you and another melee hero. I don't have like a tri lane here or anything to guarantee the PA her farm, so she's just gonna kind of have to deal with it. I'm gonna pause and just really quickly talk about like what I'm aiming for in terms of my items. So this game I couldn't get an Orb of Venom because I was too busy buying the other wards, and this is my first game back on Rare Spirit in a little while, so I forgot to buy the item in general, but I don't think I needed it because I made the game work without it. You will, generally speaking, want to be buying an Orb of Venom, either at the start, leaving the fountain, or when you're out roaming and doing your thing. You can buy it from the side shop. It's only 275 gold. You should definitely try to get it in your inventory if you notice that people are getting away with just a sliver of health, even though you have enough time to sit there and right-click them. If it's a Quap, an Orb of Venom isn't really going to help because she's just going to blink away. But if it's something like a Huskar and he keeps getting away with a sliver of health, there's probably a good reason for that, and that's that you don't have an Orb of Venom. Let me think. I then, like I mentioned earlier, buy either the wards or the courier, and then some basic regen, and then I work towards the 3-minute mark, not dying or anything like that, trying to get a magic stick and upgrading the courier. I think that's pretty mandatory. I think even with a 5th position on your team, he's probably not going to want to buy all of those things. And if he does buy the wards, the courier, and then the 3-minute flying courier, he's probably not going to have enough gold to then turn around at like the 4 or the 5-minute mark and then buy both of the wards in stock to make sure the mid laner has a night ward in his lane for when it turns nighttime at 4 minutes. So I will usually try to say, hey, can you buy the flying courier so I can buy the wards, so I can ferry the wards out and then place them where I want to place them, because again, so look, he doesn't know how to ward, whatever. I'll get a ward on the mid lane for the 4-minute nighttime mark, and then I will do what I will with the last ward. Sometimes I ferry out a smoke, because smoking wards is criminally underrated and like a really good tactic to win a bunch of games if you're snowballing. Having vision over people's like basic farm routes, like warding their jungle, especially if they don't see you warding their jungle, usually leads to really good and key pickoffs on heroes that are just trying to save up for a big key item, and you will catch them off guard when they're amassing all this gold, because they'll be like, I can farm this hard camp for the extra 200 gold I need for my blink dagger, and I can do this safely because it's on my side of the map. And then they'll just come in as a gank of, or as a gank of 4, or what would you call it, like a party of 4, and kill that person and set their blink dagger like minutes behind or something like this. It's really good for a lot of heroes, but especially for countering heroes like Tinker. Just watching his camps or watching his side of the map and smoking up to get that vision in there so you can watch him up without him noticing that you're watching him is really, really powerful. Think about other things. This should be a pretty much automatic thing that you do as most supports, regardless of your hero. This is Nurse Spirit Guide mostly, but I want to stress that on most heroes, you should just get into this automatic process of, okay, I'm going to start the game, I'm going to buy either one of the 2 support items so I can help my 5th position out. At the 3-minute mark, I'll either buy the flying courier or ask him to, or her, whatever. At around the 4 to 5-minute mark, generally speaking, you want to get that ward. When you get the flying courier out, you want to buy a ward and then fly it to you, because at 4 minutes, as I mentioned earlier, you want to get a ward in their lane, in the mid laner's lane, so you can have vision over them, over the enemy, and over the entire scope of enemies. Nighttime is a very common time to just come and go and gank the mid lane, so you can have a lot of vision out, and so they basically need a smoke unless if they want to kill your mid lane. And so yeah, you just want to be doing these things every single game. It's like, okay, start the game, buy these items. 3 minutes, buy these items. 4 minutes, get that item down on the ground. 5 minutes, buy these items. You know, get the items on the ground. You just want to be doing that, like very, very rapid, very very automatic. You should have these ingrained in your brain. And if you don't, then you're not as good of a support player as you could be. You're probably losing games because of yourself more than you are other people. You shouldn't be blaming other people, saying, oh, I'm a support, I can't get kills, I can't win the game for my team or whatever because I can't carry them. No, you can carry your team as support. You just need to play it well. Like really, really fucking well. Okay? And if you're not doing these things, you're not playing it well. So what have I done throughout the duration of this game? I have this nasty habit of like ignoring what my actions while I'm watching a replay, and then I have to go back and watch the replay again. So I warded for my mid laner, pulled him a Tango, gave him a Sentry. I warded for, or I gave my off laner a ward. I did not give my mid laner the ward, but I did ward for him. They get the first blood. Who'd they kill? They killed the Timbersaw because he got aggressive for that bounty rune. It's often a sign of a bad player as an off laner that doesn't know their own strength when they're trying to go and pressure the bounty rune. Come out here. I got my own sentry. I've got literally no items, right? I've only got consumables. I guess they're items, but my net worth right now, once I consume my items, will be 0. It'll be 120 because I have 120 gold right now. I stack this camp because I may as well. Minute mark is approaching. May as well stack a camp. Still trying to apply some pressure, but there's not too much that I can do this Beastmaster, so I am quickly realizing that. I think I'm going to do a very basic pull. Let's go a little late. No, I don't even pull. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I figured he was jungling because he started Iron Talon. My PA alerted me of that. And I was like, okay, let's go where his camp. I should have pulled. And then I can even notice mistakes in my own play. I should have pulled and then warded. But basically, the premise of Earth Spirit is you want to start the game either in the mid lane harassing the opponent or getting level 2 as soon as possible and killing the opponent that way. You want to burn their regen and eventually kill them at level 2. You have a very strong timing window at level 2 where you can basically get into melee range, get a bunch of auto attacks, preferably with an Orb of Venom, and then stun them for just long enough. It's 3/4 of a second to be able to get that last little bit of damage off that you need to kill them. This whole combo is about 150, it's exactly 150 magic damage, but it gets reduced by the 25% magic resistance. But that's unimportant because really you're just there for autos. So I do a very basic pull here. This is a it's basic in the sense that it's just a straight up pull. It's not good in the sense that my TA has to tank a bunch of creeps and pull him past under the tower. The positive of this is a super big wave, so she will miss a creep. I think she could have gotten that, but regardless, she will miss a creep, but we are going to kill creeps out of the range of the Beastmaster, so we're going to get an EXP lead over him by having his creeps kill our creeps without him nearby to actually lead to the EXP. The problem with this is that it was too big of a wave, so I have to sit here and tank the wave unless I want it to get into tower range and have some creeps die for my PA. I do a questionable decision here of just like I'm trying to like circle around so I don't take that much damage, but I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm losing so much health for no reason. Again, this is kind of a little bit calculated, but probably just overall just a mistake on my part. I wanted to help my PA out there by not letting her miss any creeps and making sure that we get the creep equilibrium in an area that I'd love it to be for my PA to just safely last hit and freeze the lane. But it ended up probably costing me more than it made me, so I'm going to ferry out a Mango and a Salve. And these are more consumables. I literally have 0 net worth if I use all my consumables right now. And then I make a pretty basic play that I don't think enough people do in solo queue, right? I just buy a TP and I TP mid, right? Huskar is doing some things, getting that bounty kill. That was sick. Good job. Or not Huskar. The Shadow Fiend is getting that bounty kill. That's super sick. That's all because I started those sentries, by the way. Important to note. He wouldn't have been getting these kills if it wasn't a sentry. But I screwed up there. I want to highlight all of these plays that I can. So gets a kill on somebody that he got because of my support contribution. But this follow up here of me buying a TP, ferrying the courier, TPing mid, and then I'm like, okay, yo, I can help you out. And so I roll. I do what is known as an off-screen roll. I will talk about that in a second, but I roll onto my Huskar opponent, and because I know that I need to stun this guy as soon as possible, so he quits right-clicking my Shadow Fiend, I instantly drop a stone on him, and I instantly stun him as soon as I get on top of him. I don't care about the slow, I just care about the stun, so I'm just going to stun him as soon as I get on top of him. Throwing out a long-range stun would probably miss if I threw it out from a range, so I wait until I roll onto him to stun him, so I can guarantee the stun and get it off as soon as possible. So let's talk about exactly what I did there outside of the mechanics inside of the mechanics. I want to talk about the mechanical play there. So here's what I did. You notice my player perspective is exact.
Danny?
Yeah, what's up?
Your stuff in the dryer?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. My bad, mate. We'll deal with that later. I'm not even gonna edit that out. Alright, my bed is definitely not made now. Anyways, specifics of that play because that is noteworthy. So I TP in, and again, my player perspective was exactly on the Huskar. I didn't even look at my hero to do this. What I did was, we'll even select my hero, I double-clicked the Stone Remnant button. You'll see me do that now. Or I start the roll first, and then I double-click the Stone Remnant. Again, my player perspective is right here. It's not even looking at the Ear Spirit. What I did was, because the roll on the Rolling Boulder is a significantly longer range than its actual range, this is to allow people to simply roll, like the actual range of... We'll go on to free time. Notice the roll range of Rolling Boulder is super, super long. This is not the actual range of the ability. This is simply the range that you can click it and and initiate the roll. The reason they did this is just so that you have a little bit of leeway, kind of like with Blink Dagger. Although with Blink Dagger it's a bit different because if you blink 4/5 the range or whatever the fuck, then you get 4/5 the range. You know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then rip. This is the range of Rolling Boulder's click, but it's not the range of the ability. So what I did was I just spawned in. There's a fight happening. I spawned in, I started the roll, I dropped a stone instantly with the double click. If you double click the Stone Remnant ability when you are not on quick cast, it will drop a stone at your feet. So I started the roll, and then I double click stone so that I get that empowered roll happening, and then as I'm rolling towards the guy, I drop a stone right at him so that when I roll into him, I will drop a stone, or when I roll into him, there will already be a stone there so that I can just kick it right when I land on him. That's basically what happened. And again, we can watch that all in one fluid motion. If we just rewind and just watch it happen from my perspective. Here's what I do. Get the items, TP. Huskar's going on my Shadow Fiend. I'm scared. I roll into him. Boom, boom, kick. I don't know why the stone is invisible, but just get some right clicks. It's like bugged. It's right there for some reason. Just get some right clicks and shit like that, and then we kind of diffuse a gank, so to speak. Other people that, I don't know, I'm not saying anybody's bad or anything, but if you're not as good on Earth Spirit, you will very likely have a situation where you will roll into somebody and then drop a stone and then kick it, and there will be like a second long delay in between the kick and the actual hitting of the target. That will allow them to do other things. You want to make your instances as fluid and as quickly as possible if you're trying to do something to help out your allies. If I'm scared that Shadow Fiend's going to die, I do not care about staggering my disables. I only care that I get the stun off as quickly as possible so he quits attacking my Shadow Fiend. So that's what I did. Anyways, after doing that TP, you notice since I have my TP on cooldown, I cannot assist the top lane. Timbersaw's just going to have to sit there and die. Poor him, sucks. But if we had multiple supports, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Unfortunately, we don't because we have a Legion Commander Jungler. I'm not going to talk too much about that outside of what I already have. Go report his stream. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but so I see this, and I'm like, we could probably make a play here if I hit this roll, but I think I miss it. Yeah, and then I roll onto him, and I do the same thing that I mentioned earlier, where you put a stone out where you're about to roll, and then you just kick it on the way to the roll. It makes the kick makes the kick less predictable. But there's still no avail there. I probably shouldn't have. That was a misread. That was like probably a 20% kill chance. It relied on the Huskar committing there to the last hits and the Shadow Fiend. That is a play that he did not end up making. So I just ended up wasting a bunch of mana. But it's not a big deal, right? I still have a Mango on me. It's nighttime. I'm going to drop a ward down for him. Can't remember where I dropped the ward down. I dropped the ward a little bit too close, and you'll see what I mean, because I'm going to watch as this gets counter-warded. This is very unfortunate. This made me cry. I'm going to walk over here. I actually kind of wonder, what kind of vision did he have? No, he just saw me come up here and ward, and so he's just like, oh man, juicy, juicy. Unfortunate unfortunate read by my end. I probably shouldn't have just walked up there and been so obvious with my wording. Anyways, I'm almost level 3. Level 3 is another really strong power spike because the damage in your Boulder Smash actually becomes significant. It literally doubles, and the duration goes up by half a second. It's pretty strong, so I'm trying to leech level 3 before I do anything else. I'm coming top, and I'm thinking, you're level 6. We can probably make something happen here. So I get on him, stun him, but that's all I was able to provide because I was not able to provide my roll. And this is like the most disgusting juke in the entire world. Also, this is pretty obvious. He came into here and he cut this tree. So where is he? He's obviously over here. But I didn't realize that immediately. Neither did my Timbersaw. So I'm just like, oh man, let me just try to see if I can get him. But he's long gone. He's over there. And in fact, we can check that if we just check where his hero is. Yeah, he's long gone. The Bounty Hunter's on me. but I'm not too afraid. Oh wait, I am actually afraid. This is where I die. Rip. R.I.P. R.I.P. boys. R.I.P. But the Timbersaw makes it out, and the only, I guess, shred of niceness there, not niceness. The positive element to this is a lot of space. The negative element is I think he might die here. This is pretty dumb by him. There's obviously the bounty hunter sitting there linking. Okay, I get it. I TP back in. I do have some regen for him, but it's not super sick. Meanwhile, massive and PRXD. Yeah, this guy's kind of a rager too. But I TP in. And now I'm just going to walk mid. Always try to be on your toes as a roaming support. Just in general, you want to constantly be moving around the map and making a fluid motion of like, I can be here if I need to and they need me. Otherwise, I want to be here applying pressure. If your TP's ever on cooldown, that's a pretty red flag for you that you can't do as much or be as effective because you can't literally be anywhere at any time. So you try to play in the areas that the most amount of pressure is being applied on your team when you don't have a TP, because you want to be able to be in a situation where if they're most likely to go on this person, I want to be there to protect them, right? I don't have a TP for the other lanes, so I want to be at the lane that is most likely to be ganked, because that is where, I mean, if I can't TP there, then I can't actually do anything if he gets dove. So I was looking at that bounty. I thought it was a bounty, but it was just an illusion. My SF soul was the Huskar, very good, and I missed my stun. I did the roll stun combo, but I missed it. It was unfortunate on that bounty hunter. I don't think we had a kill there anyways, but either way, it's just the principle of missing my stun. It makes me feel bad. Puts me on tilt. Just kidding. You'll still notice my inventory is quite literally 0 items, right? 0 rigid staple items that are going to be a part of your inventory if you're playing a long game. These are just all consumables. And that's totally fine. Like, it's not fine. I'd much rather be playing Oracle and be in this situation where I'm the 6th position hard support, but it's fine in the sense that my team is getting fed and they're making things happen. That was the Legion Commander with her 9-minute Blink Dagger making a gank happen. She got her Blink Dagger, she got a smoke, and she came and she got a kill with dual damage. That's fine. That's good. That's how you're supposed to play that hero if you're gonna do the jungling thing, which I stress that you do not. And so I had to make a decision there. I had like 300 gold, and I was like, we'll talk about some things. I had a decision there to make. I could have bought like a stick or even maybe a windlace or something, but instead I opted for just swords. This is literally me dedicating a lot to my team being able to make something happen with the amount of commitment that I'm making to consumables here. But that's what I did here, and hopefully it worked out. I popped my mango there. This guy gets gone on. Should probably just not even be on ×2 because there's some... I hit the jump ahead button by accident. I don't even know why that button's in the game. This is... not what I want to look at. Okay, yeah, I had 300 gold. I could have bought items. Like, I could have just almost about bought boots there. I could have just straight up bought boots in like 40 seconds, but I didn't. I bought 2 wards and a pack of sentries. So they go on this Huskar. I TP'd in and I rolled on to assist in the gank, but that was not necessary. I think I got some assist gold for it though, which was nice, and I bought a clarity with it. But regardless, right? I'm like, regardless of that clarity or the assist gold that I got, that probably wasn't worth it. It cost me 50 gold to TP in, so that was unfortunate. It cost me my TP, it cost me 75 mana, it cost me the entire combo of casting those abilities. I should have read that gank better and been like, they don't need my help. I come back in, I pop my mango, and I roll in. They're going on my SF, and I completely miss the roll, but I don't miss the stun, because you'll notice I kick that stun onto the Beastmaster. There's a stupid replay bug. I stun one of them, and I think I stunned that Beastmaster in just enough time to allow my Shadow Fiend to completely fully channel his ulti. So this is a situation where even not hitting all of my abilities, I still provided a lot to this gank. And so yeah, I think the Shadow Fiend dies here. I think he does have a stick, actually. No, he gets healed by the Legion and he doesn't die. This is pretty disgusting. He actually literally just doesn't die here, and we get a 2 for literally nil. It's pretty gross right there what just happened. But yeah. My kick helped. My kick was clutch. The Legion's heal was clutch. I gave him a salve there in the middle of that fight, and it got full value, so it didn't make that much of a difference. But now the Shadow Fiend doesn't have to go back to base unless he wants to. And I don't think he does. He sits there and he farms some creep camps. And yeah, this is super cool. I'm coming over to the PA. I'm pretty damn sure this is a bad play, though, and she's backing off. So good. Good stuff. And you'll notice, this is when I told my team, I was like, guys, I have literally no items. Because look, my inventory is literally nothing. And then I think I have consumables here. Nah, I got boots too. So I actually do have a solid net worth on the board, right? I have boots. So if nothing else, I'm finishing this game with 400 gold in my pocket as solid net worth. But nonetheless, I'm still poor as fuck. I'm just playing that 5th position bitch support on a hero that probably isn't the best at it, but like I said, you can make it work. Looking bottom, I don't have a TP. This is also a very unfortunate aspect. It doesn't really matter for multiple reasons. They don't need me, and I don't know if it's on cooldown either. But it would have been nice there to have a TP and have the option, I suppose, to be able to make a play happen there. It's more dual damage, more good stuff. More, just overall, good stuff is happening, and I'm very happy about that. But you don't look at this replay and say, damn, I'm going to go play Earth Spirit 5th position. Look at this game as a lucky situation where it worked out. Alright, so we're going to go over here. I got boots, I got my wards, I got the stick here. I was able to buy a stick, and I even have a TP on me. Okay, and so I have a full mana pool here, right? So I do the off-screen roll that I just told you guys about earlier. I place a stone right there that I'm going to roll into that spot, you'll see. I kick it right as soon as I exit the roll. It hits the guy, just barely, albeit. Again, there's that replay bug, but you can see the air around him. I silence him immediately after he gets out of the stun. Try to stagger my disables because I don't want him casting like a Gale or anything like that, and then my Timbersaw and my PA finish that off, and that's a very clean kill that nothing bad had to happen. And just for proof of insurance here, right, he did, this guy was a 5.7k player, holy fuck, that's a very interesting build, very interesting and unique Veno build, but he did have Gale, so if he hit a Gale there, that would have been unfortunate, so I'm glad that I silenced him so he could not use his Gale. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, man, I really just need mana this game. I think I'm literally just going to be a hero that casts spells. I'm not going to have any items, which always sucks, but regardless. Okay, and here I foolishly missed the roll here. But we get the kill regardless, I think. I don't think it's in the duration of our... no, it was in the duration of duel. I should not have missed that stun there. Regardless, though, of what I was saying there. I missed my stun, but I still provided auto attacks. I tried to respond as quickly as possible to him sniping that sentry. But this is a game where, because I'm so poor and because I'm never going to have any items, I think literally just having mana and being able to cast abilities is the key here. And so that's what I'm going for. Whether or not it was the right play is kind of hard to gauge, because the right play was not picking Earth Spirit to begin with. If I didn't know that my team was going to pick a Legion Commander jungle, I probably shouldn't have picked a hero that relies on not having a Legion Commander jungle, because solo queue is always unpredictable. Should have probably picked a hero such as Oracle. But this is going to kind of stand as a proof of it goes to show that it can work sometimes, and nonetheless there are mechanics here that regard Earth Spirit that hopefully you guys can take from this, even if you're not learning him in an effective manner. So we go for this ancient stack. It's very typical of Sven's to be trying to get an ancient stack going. So I get engaged on by 2 heroes. I don't have my roll here. I just pop a ward down, just like a whatever ward, like a good luck team ward. Like I place the ward there, but I'm pretty sure I'm dead here. I get healed there, but it didn't purge the stun, unfortunately. Just a little bit too early on it. Doesn't really matter. I was dead there probably regardless. We get a 2 for nil here, though, or a 2 for 1, but it's basically nil. You'll see my net worth is so low. I actually died for 300 gold. I assume that was just because I was a part of a lot of kills. But regardless, right, I didn't give up too much gold. I don't think the Timber actually dies here, if I'm honest with you. But they're going so ham with this Venom ulti on him. Nonetheless, right, we get 2 for 2. I guess Legion died there too. But we can kind of contested their ancient stack. And maybe that was probably one of the lower points of this game. We probably shouldn't have made that play happen there. But the principle still remains, right? If I think I could have played my end better into such a way where I just instantly stunned them as they were coming up and then just ran away. I don't think I needed to die there. And there was a way in which that play could have been good. I guarantee it. Either way, though, having the vision over there on that side of the map is just so paramount. Like we see their primary cliff that they're going to walk up to be able to start that ancient stack, and we see the ancient stack itself with the ward over the Roshan pit. Like we have all the vision that we need to be able to counter that. The only thing we don't have is something blocking that stack, and I don't even think we want to block that stack. Honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but blocking that stack, I mean, what, they're going to stack it a bunch, but we can win every fight at this current stage in the game. Like, we're winning all these fights. Let them stack it so we can just take it, like, right now. And you'll see the net worth is just going to pile, right? And just all of us going to sit here. I'm going to even provide my autos because I'm not going to try to take anything. But, I mean, if I accidentally take something, it's not going to be the end of the world since I'm poor as fuck. Look, my entire team is beating their entire team, except for me, who is getting beat by their entire team. I am quite literally dirt poor. I can just barely afford arcanes with my current net worth, but I instead opted for a stick, which is, in my opinion, far significant. I'm gonna die here again. Denied by a fucking god, this PA. Very good deny there. But my team is still just continuing to own them. And I'm gonna attribute some of this to the fact that I am playing support. I'm 1-3-10, my kill participation is 50% of my team's kills, and the most assists in the game. I'm being everything that my team needs me to be, which is just an absolute bitch. I'm just buying every support item, and I'm using all of my abilities into such a way that I'm not focusing on optimizing damage. I'm focusing on protecting my team through using crowd control. If I can get a good ulti off, that's fine, that's cool, but that's not really what I'm here for. I'm just here to provide a long 2.25 second stun, a 2.25 or 2.5 second silence, and 80% movement speed slow for 1.4 seconds, and some damage to accompany that. And that's honestly, in some of your Spirit games, that's what it's going to really boil down to, is can you hit your abilities and be useful to your team through your crowd controlling abilities. That's really all I want to look at this replay. There's nothing else to learn here. So, yeah, that was kind of just me trying to catapult an early lead with, what's it called? That was literally just me trying to catapult an early lead with the basics of how to play a 4th position roaming support, but playing it as a 6th position bitch hard support. Unfortunate as that game kind of was for the overall like theme of how I had to play the game, it ended up in a success, and we ended up winning this game, or that game. This game specifically, I remember this is actually a party game, but I don't find it to not be informative as a result. I mean, it's like I think a 4K average game. I was on the lower end on the MMR scale in this game. It's not that big of a deal. Again, I'm mostly just trying to show how to play Earth Spirit, not how to play like a Korean God or anything like that. Hopefully you can take something from this, though, as I've mentioned, no matter your skill rating, because we're trying to talk about specifically Earth Spirit, the way to play the hero, and whatnot. So here it is. I'm not going to focus too much on the order and mannerisms in which we picked our heroes. I think the Brood picked relatively last, which is really all that I guess we need to worry about. So here I am. I don't need to play the 5th position this game, so I buy a ward, and I think she bought the other ward. Or maybe I bought it and I gave it to somebody. Either way, bought some Tangos, bought some Clarities. I should have bought another Clarity. I got 2 Clarities already, though. Why didn't I buy another Clarity? No, yeah, she did buy the other ward, so I could have bought a 3rd Clarity if I wanted to. And I think you should, generally speaking, spend all your starting gold. There's no reason to keep like 50 extra gold when that could be... I mean, you could even buy a TP at the start of the game, TP out to your safe lane to make sure the offlaner doesn't get their ward off as soon as possible. Like, that's even worth it, you know? This 60 gold isn't going to really help too much. So I probably should have bought an item. But either way, I'm going to come out here, I'm going to ward for my mid lane. I don't think they can see that. I think they can see the spot, but they can't see me going to the spot, so they can't see me ward it. And wards start out as invisible units, so they can't see me warding that area. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that vision there is very important. I always love giving my mid laner vision if I can. It's very important. It's very important to be able to have the ability to have a lane that just owns, right? And having a mid laner that has vision and has the ability to just own, like, it's just so helpful, you know? For the mid lane, for a hero like Shadow Fiend, for a hero like Tinker, for a hero that has any sort of aggressive potential at all, having that ward there lets them make aggressive plays that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to, because they can see anything that they need to see. Anything that's coming that would diffuse a gank, or that would diffuse their ability to be aggressive, like a gank, they can see that, and they can see that coming, and they can react accordingly. Anyways, though, starting this game, I'm starting this game a little bit differently than I did last game. I'm starting this game towards my mid lane. I want to kind of focus on him. I was in Discord with this guy, so Discord's like a voice chat app or whatever, so I was talking to him and trying to coordinate things. I saw the Shadow Fiend was mid. I think he warded for him, but then he was coming up top, so I was like, oh, I'll just burn some of his mana and get some right clicks. It's kind of a big mistake. He started Disruption and got a lot of right clicks off on me. And the Orb of Venom slow from my own Earth Spirits kind of sucked here. The trade was overall poor, but I think I used more of his mana than he used on me. In fact, we can even check. 110 mana, I think it is for Disruption. So it was 120. He did use more mana than I did. I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world, because he made me use a lot more regen than he did. But it's just kind of the little trade-offs. They have to aggressively try lane top because they want to dodge. They don't have to, but they're trying to dodge the Broodmother, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just like, okay, I'll just fucking sit here mid and get the ganks off. You know, Earth Spirit's not the best in tri lanes, alright? He's not like a Visage. So I want to focus on a lane that I can win for my allies, not a lane that it's kind of shoddy in. So, gank mid, use a lot of this guy's regen, a lot of his mana as well. Notice I went in at a time when he didn't have Flame Guard up. That's just to get a little bit of extra damage off. It doesn't really matter if he has Flame Guard up, and it's got a very low uptime, especially at earlier ranks. I'm going to go in when he just used it here, because this is just a great time to go in on him, because he went in and tried to get aggressive with a level 1 Flame Guard and a level 1 Bolas. But the principle still remains. If he has Flame Guard up, he's going to take less damage from your spells. So just go in when he doesn't have it. And it's pretty easy to predict him when he has it up, especially, or when he's about to when it's about to run out, because he's either going to be running away or he's going to be running up to people. You can usually hit guaranteed rolls. But rolls in general are not that hard of it's not that hard of an ability to hit. You just kind of look for the creeps when they're low HP, and if they're going for him, it's a pretty easy roll. That time I missed the roll. I did hit the kick. This gank would have been so much easier if I hit the roll, though. I'm just going to start off by saying that. I'm getting blocked here a little bit by the illusions that the Shadow Demon created in the Slark, but because of the melee attack range buff, I was able to hit the Shadow Demon over it, and overall we do kill this guy. But it's important to note he would have been a lot easier to kill without missing that roll. A mistake on my part. We'll go on to the Wraith King here a little bit, get some auto attacks on. Note, I'm level 2, right? My entire team is level 2. This is a huge level advantage that we have over this level 1 Disruptor, and this, I guess the Shadow Demon is level 2. But Wraith King's level 2 doesn't really mean that much, and he's actually still level 1. And Shadow Demon's the only hero on their team with level 2. Meanwhile, I'm level 2, my Lina was level 3, or I think she was level 2, and then the Kill EXP got her to level 3, and my Slark was level 2, and he just got to level 3. So we had a huge level advantage, and that's why I went in there. Because I've been roaming, so my team got more levels, and I was able to make a gank happen there, where otherwise may not have been able to happen. So get that gank going, got my magic stick, used my clarity on my Lina so she doesn't have to go back to base. I'm going to roll back to base because I'm low as fuck on health. I'm a nice guy, call me Generosity. Buy boots, makes the running back process quicker. I always roll in the early game because I'm not level 6 and I don't care about my stone conservation. It's not a big deal. At level 3 you're going to have 2 abilities that use stones, so as long as you have 2 stones you're pretty much fine for any gank. Buy a TP, I'm looking to TP out to a lane to try to make a gank happen. But then I decide not to because there's literally no lane that needs my attention immediately, so I just start rolling. Now I'm just going to walk because I want to conserve mana. I get here, I have no mana regen. I wanted to conserve all my mana, so I didn't start rolling back. I've got 2 full combos before I have to go back to base again, and one of the reasons I bought boots so early is so I can help myself run back to base. It's totally fine to run back to base on this hero. He does it much better than some other supports. Earth Spirit rolling back to base is much quicker than Lion rolling back to base, I'll say that much, okay? Lion's fucking abysmal movement speed, and you never want to go back to base on the hero. It sucks. But I miss the roll and the stun combo, really sucks, but I diffuse the situation. I make it so it's like they're all spread out and shit. So the Disruptor TP's back to their tier 1 tower, pretty smart play, so he can still continue to help. My Lina dies, but my Slark gets a double kill. Super, super good stuff. Actually, I think that Shadow Fiend just died, or Shadow Demon just died, but nonetheless, it was still a great trade. We're amassing that level advantage, we're amassing that kill advantage, and we're starting to snowball the lane. Sucks the Slark had to die there. Does he fucking die? He didn't die. Okay, what a god. Anyways, I want to talk about this gank that just happened. So, this is a very easy gank to make happen, right? Because I see the Ember Spirit coming up. He's going aggressive. He's got his Flame Guard up. They'll come in, hit the roll. It's going to do no damage because he has Flame Guard up, but it's a very easy roll to hit, and this is essentially a gank changer, right? Because this gank would have gone very poorly for my Tinker, I believe anyways, had I not have came in here and helped him out. The stun helped him so he didn't get autoed as much. The slow had some damage. I mean, he didn't really do anything there. It didn't hurt him because he had Flame Guard up, and it didn't really slow him that much because I stunned right on top of him anyways, and his movement speed didn't matter there. But just my ability to be able there and provide auto attacks and help my Tinker not die there was probably an important play that I made there. Not entirely sure, but you know, I want to believe I helped there, so I think I did. Ember Spirit comes in, makes a really sick play. We'll show that I'm not gonna only show my good plays. I'll show the enemy's good plays here. I don't think he planned this, but this is exactly what happened. I'm like, dude, I don't want to take this rune with my Tinkers right here. So I kick, and then he jumps right on top and dodges the kick, and he gets the kill on my Tinker. This is a really well played Ember Spirit move. I don't know if he meant to do that, but that's what happened. Yeah, didn't kill me there. There's some debate as to whether or not he could have killed me there, but I don't think he could have killed me there. I went high ground too quickly. I don't know if he could have predicted that I was going to roll away, but if he was a super god, maybe he could have. Either way, I don't die, but my Tinker does, and that was an unfortunate situation. So I TP back because I saw like a gank happening, not a gank, a situation happening that I wanted to defuse. Make sure my Ember Spirit doesn't kill him, and I drop a ward for my mid because it is nighttime. I want to make sure there's vision, always. Come over here bot lane. I see the Broodmother's cutting waves as she should be. I don't have a TP here, and this really sucks because I think I wanted to be top right now. I'm leeching this EXP because she let it go through, and she's going on the Darkseer now. This is kind of nice that I can leech the EXP, but I really kind of wish I was just top right now. I wish I did TP, and I wish I could be top. So I should have kicked for this, by the way. I think I could have kicked it right there, but I didn't kick it. But just in general, right? Like, I shouldn't even be here. I should be top right now. Look at this. Look at that fight. So I buy a TP here, but this is just... I didn't even have it up, so I take that back. Me having a TP there wouldn't have made a difference. I just shouldn't have TP back mid in the first place. That was the thing that detracted it. So I TP in, the Slark's dead, it's too late. Even if I roll on here, like, it's not going to do anything. Guess some auto's off, but they're all here. This is a poor play on my part, and I think I end up paying for, yeah, I definitely end up dying here. Right? Yeah, I'm dead. So, it was a poor play on my part. I shouldn't be up here. Probably my stick in the last second, but it was just very, very bad play by me. I didn't read the situation appropriately, and I got punished because of it. That's a situation where it doesn't matter how good of an Earthspear player you are, you need to have good support mechanics of being able to recognize what situations you can go in, what situations you can't, what situations you should go in, and what situations you shouldn't have. Me TPing mid there made it so my TP was delayed, and it made it so that I couldn't help out my top lane when I needed to, and that was ultimately the misplay there. Anyways, there's 3 creeps getting low, so I kick them. Level 3 kick, we'll do that. It's good farming. That was a this situation right here was a misplay. I had the ward there and everything. I just was not looking at the minimap. My camera positioning was quite poor here. Try to roll, and he stuns me. Or no, he actually just gets in range to make my roll right on top of him. Either way, that was just a poor play on my part. So at this point, I'm kind of tilted because I just TP'd and died, and if you know Dota, you know that it sucks to TP in and die, right? You die, you TP into a lane and die again. That just kills your motivation to play. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm playing very, very poorly. I need to start like actually identifying the map better and just reading situations better. And so that's what I think I start to do. I see this Broodmother getting gone on. I'm like, you know, she's fucking dead. A lot of space being made. I'm gonna come down here, but there's nothing I can do for him. I'm just going to eat some creeps. They're coming out, but they can't do shit to me. I just roll away. And I think I just chill here. Regain some HP. What do I do? Oh yeah, try to get some more stun. This is probably a poor ward though. I think I think it's pretty logical to assume that they have vision there. Either way though, the Tinker's pushing the lane, so I want to get a gank happening. This is something else that Earthspirit's really good at doing. He's just good at like chilling on like tower lines and just... I'm TPing here, but you can just chill at tower lines like I was and roll in right when their TP finishes. People don't usually expect it. Anyways, I TP top. Lena's getting gone on. I see the Slark. I'm like, Slark, you just heal up and we'll kill whoever comes back up. I guarantee not all 3 of these people will stay here. Probably only one of them will. They won't try to push this. So we'll just kill whoever comes up. And I think that's exactly what we end up doing. I'm going to farm it. Shadow Demon's right there. There's a Wraith King here too. I roll, but he instantly disrupts me. I got a 2-man stun off. I think I do die here. To the poison? Nope, I do not die to the poison. Nothing happens there. It's mostly because I screwed up my roll. But regardless, right? We'll scroll back and talk about that. Nothing happened there, but if I didn't screw up my roll, I think I would have been a lot more A-okay. I have a lot of mana here, just not a lot of health. So me losing a lot of health there really sucked. Either way, I roll back in for distance. I kick the stone as the replay glitch. I didn't hit anybody with that kick, but I was aiming for that Wraith King that just like got over there. My Slark is going to die here, and overall this is a poor trade. The situation could have been a lot better if I just hadn't screwed up my roll. This is where having Tranquil Boots over Arcanes is really nice, because I wish my Lena had hit me with those Arcane Boots. But having Tranquil Boots lets me stay out here if I need to, and if I want to, which in this situation I definitely do. I'm kind of using the Lena as bait here, but like having Tranquil Boots makes it so that I can just sit here for like, you know, 13, 14, 15, 20 seconds or so and get my health pretty much up to full. I threw a pretty poor kick out there, but the principle remains that, you know, I can be effective at long range. So I roll in, get my ulti off, get disrupted, drop another one, as DJ Khaled would say. The kick there was quite poor, but I still managed to hit him. It was just a poorly aimed kick. So I'm not even pretty much, I'm entirely out of stones here. And I know for a fact that there's no way in hell that I will be able to kill this guy. So I roll on that stone that I had over there. You can see stones through trees. There's just a huge replay bug. But I'm like, there's no way I'm killing this guy. I'm just going to put a stone down or I'm just going to put a stone down on him and just roll away. I've got a kick now, so I do think I think I'm trying to stay around in case my team needs me, but no, I actually don't. I take that back. I'm a liar. Going back to base, I've got 1,000 gold. And so what I'm going to do this game? Buy a few support items, but I'm going to work towards a really quick blink. Because Blink helps me catch people, and my Slark has a Shadow Blade, and we have a Tinker, so catching people is really important in this game. Get a Dust, then I sell the Dust because I'm like, wait, what do I even have Dust? Nobody on their team can go invisible. Nobody's likely to buy a Shadow Blade, or nobody's likely to be getting a Shadow Blade at this time, so... Anyways. I'm looking top here, there's a Darkseer. We can probably make a kill happen unless this guy has a Guardian Greaves. And I think I just checked his items and confirmed that he does indeed at least have a mech, which he does, because he's been farming a lot of Broodmother Spiders. It's at this point when I'm just kind of sad, because there's really not a whole lot of kill pressure. Ember Spirit doesn't actually have a stone out, but he does have people here, and that was really unfortunate. At least I got glimpsed. So I go in, I get glimpsed. The Lina TP'd in. It was very unfortunate that I got glimpsed, but it was also not unfortunate at the same time because I didn't die. But the Lina is going to die here. I think we try to turn this, though. I think maybe the Tinker TP's in. Yeah, he does, but I don't think we get anything out of it. That was just a good play by them by having the Ember Spirit go forward and tank a bunch of shit. Now I'm going to die as well. I get my ulti off, and I get a 3-man silence off, but there's just no coming back. I died. We get people kind of low, and I do think we get a kill here, but it overall was not worth it. 2, I think maybe even 3 deaths for 1, yeah, is not worth it. And that was just a poor play again by us. It's at this point where I'm kind of getting concerned. I'm like, man, I'm not this, like, I can't roam effectively. I'm dying, and I'm losing gold as opposed to gaining it, which is what I want to be doing, especially when I'm trying to work towards a Blink Dagger. These guys have tightened up their play, so I think I should do the same. And I'm just going to start sitting behind people. I'm going to change my play style from proactive to reactive, right? I'm just going to go from the whole sit behind somebody and try to help them out when they're getting yanked. The Broodmother gets engaged on. She didn't silence him, which was very unfortunate. I think she does have her Orchid right now. But this is a situation where it's kind of hard to make anything happen because I don't have any stones. So I'm just going to back off. But if I did have a stone there, I probably would have tried to go for like a stun on the Ember Spirit. So they get another kill for free. No, I'm just gonna... Oh, excuse me, sorry. Now I'm just gonna look mid. I get Arcanes by the Lina. And I'm looking at that Ember Spirit. The key thing to note, if you ever see Ion Shell on somebody, just assume the Darkseer's nearby. Because he probably is. I'm just gonna roll away here because I was a little bit afraid of their rotations. I think I was justified in doing that. We're gonna Glyph. I think this has slowly turned into like a replay commentary, which I didn't want it to be. I wanted this to be more of an Earth Spirit guide. But I promise things will become informative as we make plays happen. So here we go. They're like they're situated on our tier 2, and as an Earth Spirit player, I don't want to give this up. So I roll. I think I'm about to roll right now. Nope, I actually engage with the kick, which hits 2 people. Get a 2-man ulti. I drop a stone immediately afterwards, which was a mistake. I overused stones there. I got the refreshes have been real, but they haven't been like real good. You know, they've been all right, but they haven't been super sick. So we got some refreshes. We only actually ended up, I think, killing the Disruptor here, which was very unfortunate. I felt like we should have killed more. But we can't attribute all of this to, like, I did as much as I could. I think I could have done a little bit better, but generally speaking, what you're going to do in a team fight is, you know, you're going to... I think maybe rolling there would have actually been effective. Let's check this and let's see if I can't hold, like, a super critical light to this and try to be super analytical. Alright, so here they go. I think, looking back at this, I think what I should have done is roll in right now. Roll in and try to be the initiator. Drop a stone right on that Ember Spirit and try to get a 2, maybe even a 3-man stun. I bet I'd get glimpsed back, and so right when I get glimpsed back, I want to throw my ulti off, or throw my ulti on them, and then pull a stone into them, and get Ebola going on everybody, and then silence them all as well. I think that's what I should have done. Instead, I opted for the walking route, so I walk by, and I do get a 2-man stun on, but it just wasn't enough, right? Stunning that Disruptor after he gets his ulti off and stunning the Ember Spirit at this time just really isn't effective. I get that the pull on the Disruptor, or not on the, well, I do get the Disruptor, but I was also getting it on the Shadow Demon, so he couldn't get his pull off on me, or his Disruption off on me. But I just wasn't able to be as effective as I could have been had I have engaged sooner, because that Disruptor's ulti just really cucked my team and killed 2 people. So that's what if I'm going to be more critical, that's what I could have done. But there's a lot of other things that are happening in this game that are attributing us to losing these games. It's not just that. So yeah. So we did lose that tier 2. That was a sad story. I'm gonna go top now. I have Windlace and Tranquils. By the way, if you ever have Windlace and Tranquils, and I'm doing it this game because I want to go Blinkules, but if you ever have Windlace and Tranquils, you're basically fucking Speedy Gonzalez. You're Sonic. You're Sonic the Hedgehog. I look at this alright, let's talk about this, because I'm a fucking god and I gotta talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. We gotta talk about the situation because this is something that not a lot of Earth Spirits would have taken advantage of. You gotta look at the situation from the perspective of that Ember Spirit can jump on me at any point in time, so I want to position it to hit 2 people, and that's exactly what I do. Now, he could have been Super Gosu Pro, whatever, throw a Remnant out himself, but the fact remains that I was trying to go for a play that would have maximized crowd control on 2 key targets that could have potentially killed me. And that's what I did there. That's what you should be trying to do as Earth Spirit, is looking out for situations where if you're trying to protect your own life, usually it's not enough to just roll away. You need to hit like a stun, maybe even a silence if you're ever getting caught out. But that is what I love about Earth Spirit, is that he can get away from a lot of situations that other supports cannot. Lion, what's he gonna do? Lion's just gonna run away at 285 movement speed and get like a stun and then a hex off. Earth Spirit can just stun everybody and silence everybody. Anyways, scroll a little bit ahead. I kind of want to show the turning point in this game because I think we can learn a lot from it. Because I do think I played a key role in team fights, and I think it's important to note just what the role was and exactly what part I played. Outside of just buying basic support items in the early game and trying to be there for my team and holding a TP at all times. So getting some farm off. I don't want to steal all of this guy's farm. He TP'd in. Gave me some bottle charges. That was nice of him. He's a friend on Discord, so I took his bounty rune from him, but I wouldn't have done that normally. I mean, it's a tinker, so he doesn't really need it anyways at this point since he has spots, but nonetheless, I probably should have given that to him. Regardless, though, I'm looking for a kill setup here. We have a tinker that's pushing the lane, so somebody's going to respond to this, and I'm like, yo, dude, you should definitely come back in. They're going to push tier 2 bot, which means they're not going to actually have all their heroes here, so we can kill whatever one hero comes in. But then another person TP's in. And I'm like, okay, we can definitely kill this guy, guarantee it. His blink. So I roll in, silence, and then I stun afterwards. This is a clean kill. But I need to talk about that because a lot of things happen very quickly. What I want to do here is I need to maximize crowd control to minimize his ability to get away. So what am I going to do? I'm going to roll in, I'm going to hit that shit, I'm going to immediately silence as I'm rolling in because the slow doesn't actually silence or stun him. It doesn't stop him from doing any of the things that he needs to do to get away. So I want to pull the stone as I'm rolling in to guarantee the silence and to get it off as quickly as possible. So we do that, and now he's silenced and he can't do anything. And then I stun afterwards, not exactly afterwards, but I was kind of focusing on nuke damage there too. I stun afterwards, get some damage off, get the fact that he's silenced and now he's stunned so he can't do anything again, then we just burst him down. Pretty easy play. Scroll ahead a little bit. They're farming under our vision, which is still nice because we can see them, even if we don't plan on making a play on them. Here's 2 supports. I don't have my ulti here because I used it on the Ember Spirit because I didn't want to fuck around. I hate it. I hate ganking an Ember Spirit, having my ulti and being like, I don't want to use it, and then because I didn't use it, I end up not getting the kill. So what I do instead was I just ulted the Ember Spirit, which means I don't have it for this play. It's okay though. Either way, I'm out of mana. The Tinker's getting engaged on. We turn this fight around though really well. The Disruptor ulti just wasn't enough on one hero, and overall we make a pretty good play happen. I think nobody dies from this point. I could be wrong. I'm running away, focusing on my survival. Yeah, nobody dies here, right? Slark doesn't die, right? He's Slark. Slark makes it away because he's Slark. No, Wraith King gets a double kill. So actually that wasn't the best play in the world. But we were behind, so it is important to note that shutdowns are still worth, what shutdowns are worth. So that's cool. We go mid, we get some farm. And I think the key thing to note here about what I've been doing for like the last 10 minutes is that I'm just remaining active on the map trying to get farm and soak up EXP where I can, right? A 4 position, as I mentioned earlier, you don't, like, especially as Earth Spirit, you don't need any particular item in general. But you do need items, you don't need any particular item, like a Lion needs Blink or like a Disruptor needs Blink or whatever. I don't even know. I don't know Disruptor, but you don't need any particular item like a Chikiro needs Yules or a Lion needs Blink, but you need items. You need something. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm trying to do, is recognize when my allies are not farming everything, and then I'm just going around and getting stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do anyways. And so I don't know why this stun hit. This is why you should play if for nothing else, this is why you should play Earth Spirit, because people know how to react to a Lion stun because I see him in every game, but people apparently don't know how to react to an Earth Spirit stun. So Earth Spirit stun is very narrow, and you can see with the wind path, right? It's coming. It's very narrow, but it's very long, which means the easiest way to dodge it is just to dodge right or left. He thinks, I guess this is a Lion stun, so he's just going to keep up running until he eventually outruns it because he's Dark Series Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. But it eventually hits him, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So it hits him, and I think we do go for a killer. I'm not entirely sure if we get it. Yeah, okay, I get it, and I just jump on him and ulti because I'm like, he needs to die now. Like, if he let me do that, he deserves to die. Then I think I make it out of this. Yeah, I do make it out of this situation. Then I turn around and I kill this guy. Because I just happened to blink on top of him. I didn't actually make... I wasn't trying to make a play there happen, but that looked really cool from the viewer's perspective. Anyways, TP back home. I'm pretty close to Yules. Yules is kind of nice here because I don't think you have mana problems if you manage your mana properly, but with Yules you can just kind of spam your abilities out. And Yules is really sick with Blink because you can Blink Yules. Blink Yules pretty much guarantees your entire combo 100%. You can roll into people right after the Yules comes off, and then like right after you roll, like you'll roll, have a stone out, you can ulti them when they're in the air spiraling around as a Yules, like when they're Yules, and it applies to them. There's so many cool things you can do with Yules. It's kind of redundant to talk about it, but I'm just going Yules here. Deal with it. I'm looking here. I know there's a Darkseer trying to farm the lane. They have a Bot's Ember TPing in, so I blink away. And I think I was scared. Yeah, I must have been scared. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been rolling away as much as I was. Okay, I'm just going to TP. I can't remember. Okay, I TP back to base. That's probably a mistake. I probably didn't need to TP back to base. I probably only needed to TP, like, to the tier 3. But it wasn't that big of a deal. So we secured Rosh. Our team was taking Rosh. That's why I was there. I was just trying to create pressure and trying to, like, keep eyes on the map while they were trying to take... My team was trying to take Rosh. I think it was actually the Rosh. I don't actually know if there's too much more to talk about, because after seeing what my team just did, I don't think they can really come back. They're going to try to push to high ground here, which I think is dumb. But just us having Rosh here and getting the comeback kills that we had on the team that we have, which is pretty, I would say, late game oriented. With Broodmother, I always just assume that we win late game if we can make it, and they don't push us down too much, because Broodmother's like another core. But yeah, we take a really favorable engagement here. Slark doesn't even use Aegis, which is really sick. I miss a stun, but I don't miss a silence, which is important. And we just get Slark gets a triple, we get 4 people dead, and this is super cool. We'll just, we'll speed ahead, get my Yules. I can't remember what I would go after. I don't even think it doesn't even matter at this point. Slark still has Aegis, we just make plays happen. Just be there for your team and stuff like that anyways. Because this isn't like the crux of Earth Spirit. The crux of Earth Spirit is the early game, and that's what I wanted to show. So we'll show this last game that I wanted to look at. And like I said, I am trying to keep this guide relatively short, or at least shorter than what I usually have my guides at, so... I'm gonna download this replay. God, it's super laggy when you're downloading a replay while you have a replay. 1 sec. I need to put a hair tie in because I got this little fidgety piece. It's like it keeps coming at me. Alright. Alright. No judgment, please. We've all had long hair before. Anyways, so we'll scroll ahead. I can't remember when I picked Earth Spirit. I think it was like 1st or 2nd, but as I usually do. But the key thing to note here is that I have a support with me. Even though he doesn't want to play 5th, I actually have another support. So that's super cool, right? Actually having another support is super cool because that means you don't have to be the total bitch. So we'll scroll ahead 10 seconds. Spawn of the game, I'm on his perspective. He buys the courier, so I'm like, alright, sick. I gotta buy both words. Oh, I'm not even in the game yet. I think I was like looking at a YouTube video or something. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. You don't need to watch YouTube videos to play your Spirit effectively. I buy both words. Like I said, I like to have control over my vision in pubs because people don't know how to ward in this game. Even 6K players, like don't ever underestimate somebody's or overestimate somebody's ability to ward. Chances are people are literally just putting eyes on the map and without any sort of recognition of like where the enemy's eyes are or where the eyes should be placed. I'm not saying that warding is like some super high level tactic. I'm just saying people don't think about it when they do it, and so that's why I favor having the ward vision. And I promise you, if you think more when you place the wards that you're placing, you will better understand where you were placing the wards. For instance, right, mid lane should pretty much always, I think, be warded nowadays in this metagame that's so heavily focused on the mid winning and snowballing and other people trying to gank the shit out of the enemy mid laner. Like, it's so good to have eyes on the mid lane, and especially, like, specifically where I put a ward. It's not too aggressive, it's not going to instantly get dewarded. It's on our side of the map, so they would need to put a sentry and instantly eat it with a Quelling Blade. I could even be a little bit more defensive with that ward if I was scared of them actually counter-warding it. This game I wasn't, but I could have been, right? This game I wasn't because they had a Tinker Jungle, but if I was more scared of this CM actually dewarding me, I could have been even more defensive and made it so that she basically had to guess if she wanted to deward that. But in general, though, like, it's so important to have mid lane vision, I think, right now. So, place a ward mid. It's an Alchemist. I will be ganking for him, but it's probably not going to be working out because pub Alchemists never get their stun, and they always max greed first, which is so stupid. But we'll see what happens. So we get this first, this kind of like early game damage. I don't think we kill him here, but it's still really, really nice to just get some damage off on this guy, even though he has Axe and he has like 3 health regen. You know, just get some damage in there. Just make sure you can't cut waves super, super early. Then we go back, and then I think I was going for a deny there, but yeah, here I am. I'm just going to roll. And I was like, I can make some trades here as long as he doesn't spin on me. And then he spins the very first hit that I make, so I'm like, all right, I'm back enough. And if that's how this game's going to go, we're not doing that. But actually, I want to scroll back because this is another quick tip on supports in general. This is something that I was trying to be mindful of, but I fucked up. What you should do is you should try to, as any support, right? Carries, generally speaking, want to block the wave, and supports want to go up to the enemy wave and make sure that the enemy the ranged creep does not come forth first. So see, he had his range creep there, and I was like, oh fuck, the range creep got through, and his wave's gonna push now. But then I saw his melee creep for even more forward, and then I didn't worry about it. But generally speaking, you should get in front of the enemy's wave as they're trying to block it to make sure that the range creep stops, tries to auto attack you, and then their melee creeps come up to you and melee you. That will make sure that the lane is always in favor of what you want it to be. That way, your carry can block every creep except for the range creep, and then the range creep can go forward, and then your wave can get pushed, and then you can start denying creeps even better. It's just better to do it the way that I'm trying to explain it. I hope I'm doing a good job. Basically, creeps will aggro onto you, and the range creep has to stop and start attacking you. The range creep isn't melee, so he's not going to run up to you and start meleeing you. So he's going to stop, and he's going to start ranging you, and then when their melee creeps come up, they will encompass you, and then you'll just back off, and then the melee creeps will be as if he didn't even block at all. It's pretty cool. Anyways, I do what I did on the Axe, and then I go mid to gank the TA. It's important to note that I was not looking for a kill here. I was just looking to try to be aggressive here and try to get the TA low. We used some regen. There's some. Okay, I don't know where those Tinker bots came from. I know the Tinker Merchant Machines. There's a replay book. But yeah, it's important to note that I was just trying to apply pressure there. I was not trying to kill that guy. And then my safe lane gets a kill. That's super cool, even without me. I'm going to come here and leech some EXP, and you're going to see it's going to be a worthwhile prospect. I'm going to take some damage here, but I just want to be here to leech EXP. This is one thing that's like solely criminally underdone in pubs, is if you see that the enemy has a jungler, you don't have to be bounty hunter to just go in there and fuck with him. Chances are his lanes aren't going to want to help him out, so just be there and leech EXP. It's super cool. That's what I'm doing. And I even took the big creep, so get fucked. But I'm going to sit here now and I'm going to block this creep camp, because that slows down Tinker Jungle. I have looked up videos as to how to Tinker Jungle before, so I know what pisses him off, as stupid as that sounds. And then my Alchemist gets his courier sniped, which is unfortunate. But that also means that the CM is not in this lane. So we go down bottom, CM's not here, I know the Tinker's not here because he's jungling, and we just get a kind of hard kill on the Sven. I missed my other roll, which was unfortunate. At this point I'm like, oh fuck, he might actually get away, but no, he doesn't. And I wanted to give him the kill. I had kick up. I could have auto-kicked, but I wanted to give the Slider the kill there. It's important to note that I probably shouldn't have done that. The kill got a little curious at some point, and I was like, fuck, dude. My guy could die. So I might have... I mean, it ended up being the right play, but it was a scary play nonetheless. So here I buy the Flying Courier and both wards. I'm like, okay, this guy... there's no chance in hell that an Omni Knight's going to try to play the bitch support, so I'll just do it again. And so I buy the Flying Courier, and the only reason I buy it here is so I don't forget to buy it earlier. I know it died, so it's going to have to wait till it respawns, but once it respawns, it'll just automatically upgrade. The reason I do it, though, is, again, it's inefficient, but I'm doing it just to make sure that I don't forget. Because if that Courier gets sniped again, we're just going to lose the game. I replaced the ward that I placed 7 minutes ago, because, again, I want to have vision on this lane at all times, especially during the nighttime. Then I roll in and take half her health off, and even some refraction charges. So that's super cool. Come up here, see their ancient cap. I want to pause right here. Wait. Hopefully I look over there again, so I don't have to. I'm gonna have to go back in time. So I want to pause right here. I warded there, and the reason I warded there is because most TAs, when they're taking their ancient camp on the Radiant side, they're going to pull it down. They're going to pull it down into this area. If I ward over here, it's not going to see as far over here. And likely, especially if I ward it like over here somewhere, can I ping? I can't ping. But if I ward over here, the trees are going to block the sight. I want to have as much vision on this TA when she's trying to take her camp as possible. Also, benefits to me warding all the way over here as opposed to digging the ward up in the camp is it takes 2 sentries to de-ward this. If the C... does it? Maybe it does. What's the... Oh my god, this replay system sucks so much. I'll say it. I'll sing it till the cows come home. Okay. I can't hold Alt and find out either. It's, it does, but it just comes up really slow. That's interesting. If she digs a sentry ward, like, right up here on the side ground, she's not going to see this. So she has to put a sentry here and hopefully get lucky, or a sentry here and get unlucky and then be like, oh, now I need to ward a sentry here. So, it's 2 reasons as to why I put a ward here. That's just a little support tip. That has nothing to do with her spirit, but... I'm trying to teach you guys support as well as her spirit. Anyways, speed up. We got my stick. I told you guys earlier, I love getting a stick as soon as possible. The sustenance that it gives on a hero that is so desperate for mana after like 2 ganks, because every gank uses 150 mana, is so valuable. She's coming here, and because the Alchemist is not here, he's farming stacks. I was like, I'm going to leech EXP, and then the CM comes up. Again, that was probably just me not looking at my minimap because I did have a ward up. When she came, I had to use my mana to... I didn't have to. I probably didn't have to, at least. But I'm just like, okay, I'm going to use mana to run away and just go back to base. So I did. I probably should have rolled even further back to base. It's not really that big of a deal. As I mentioned earlier, rolling back to base is not a big deal. And then I'm like, yo, she's going to definitely take that camp after she sacks it, so you should totally go over there and we should get a free kill. So I TP in as soon as possible, and she's taking it, and she's getting super low. We'll slow down here because there's a play here. There's a play here, boys. So the Alchemist drops that, and right when he drops it, she gets like 3 creeps. So I was like, I didn't see that happen immediately. Wait, where did I TP? I didn't even TP. I'm just walking. Okay, I'm dumb. Never mind. There wasn't a play made here. There was no play made here. I really wish this guy had a stun though. I probably should have TP'd in and stood like right here and tried to make a kill happen. But this is like a public service announcement. If you play Alchemist, don't do this build ever, please. This guy's like a 4 or a 5K player, and if you're a 2K Alchemist player and you're watching this, you shouldn't be like, oh man, that's how you play Alchemist. Do not think this is good. This is not good at all. Anyways, rolling. She gets denied by the 2 black dragons. That's super cool. It's just my luck. We get the black dragons though, which is like 400 gold, so that's kind of cool, I guess. And then I pop myself, because even though I'm low, I'm not that low. So they go in for this kill. They don't even need me. They're doing a great job. Part of this, I'm not going to lie, is because I harassed him. Well, we harassed him at the start of the game. We harassed him at the start of the game, and then they got first blood on him. And then see that CM is wasting 2 sentries there. I came in, I missed a stun. I kind of want to talk about every play because, again, it's important to note that I can still make mistakes. I missed the stun, but I don't think I missed the roll. We'll see. I come in, and there's some replay books. I don't think she's Slardar ulted yet, because Slardar's like way down here. So the Alchemist lens, I think he just hits the stun, and then I instantly roll on top of her. I'm not entirely... That was the play, though. Yeah, I missed the stun because I was just too late. There's a level 1 stun at 4.5 seconds, so it's just like a flicker of a stun. I should have identified that and tried to stun earlier or something. Either way, I jump on her, and then I think I try to pull in between my auto attacks. No, I didn't. Okay. You should use the pull, especially in the early game, as mostly a silence mechanic, but if you need it for the extra damage, it does like 35 damage when you account for magic resistance. It still is damage, so in situations where you're like, I could get him if I had 35 extra damage, you need to like auto attack and then pull and then auto attack again to like fill in the void of your auto attack. You don't want to cancel auto attacks for your pull. Anyways, I'm rolling back to base. Again, I'm not level 6. I don't need to care about stones or stone conservation. I TP bottom. I didn't grab my boots, which is like a huge mistake, but I TP'd so instantly because I was like, I gotta get there as quickly as possible. I should have grabbed my boots, but you'll notice I didn't even refill my entire mana pool because I wanted to help this guy out so much. And so I get on him, I pull the creep. I was trying to pull the stone. I hate that so much, Valve. You need to change that shit so that stones have the priority. Either way, I pull it. I give the Slardar a chance to back off. He has Tranquil Boots. I don't know if they popped in, but he has some extra HP. I think it was because he used his stick. He's trying to avoid the 2-man AoE stun, so I'm trying to back up to make sure the Sven can't get a value stun. What I should have done was just click on him and recognize that he doesn't have enough mana, because I don't think he had enough mana. No, he did. Did not. He just barely did not, and he didn't even have the cooldown. So that was just a misread on our part. Like, he shouldn't have been so hesitant. He does have his ulti, and he does have cleave, but if I stand on one end and he stands at the other end, like 180 degrees behind the Sven, he can't get cleaved. So we could have been a little bit more clean about that. But either way, we get the kill, and it's Sven, so it's a pretty big kill. It's a pretty good shit. And then I'm... this is when I was realizing, like, man, I really like my boots right now, so I'm going to go to the side shop and buy them. And then I realized that I didn't even take them off of myself in the stash when I bought them earlier. So that was a mistake. Either way, I'll roll back. I don't care. Again, not level 6 yet. I think I am going to get a tome here pretty soon. I don't know if I do. No, I just buy Windlace. Get my boots. I TP mid. Slardar got really low. This is kind of an... Whoops. I accidentally went too quick. I did not mean to go that quick. This is kind of an iffy play because we're fighting into March and Machines, and it's probably a high level of March because he was jungling, so he needs March at a high level. So we're going to fight into March here, but I'm going to get a 2-man stun, and you'll see how I did that. And, goddamn. Sorry. Alright, you'll see how I did this, right? This is what I'm talking about, the off-screen roll. You roll, queue up the roll. I'm not even looking at my hero. Look at where my mouse is. I push W, I double-click my stone button, and then I roll right into her. And then I instantly put a stone down and kick it as quickly as possible. You need to make these movements really, really fluid and efficient. And just, literally just playing Earth Spirit will get you better at this. I can't tell you it any better than that. Like, If I had silenced even a little bit sooner, that TA wouldn't have gotten her refraction up. That's just another point about how like even I could be better at this. Is I'm trying to like stagger my disables and make them last as long as possible, but I even fucked up my silence, which was pretty big. I mean, we could have like she could be dead right now if she hadn't refracted everything. Like she refracted the Alchemist stun and the Slardar stun. And that was a lot of damage that she refracted. So I can't remember if she dies here. She might, but it didn't. It wouldn't have taken all. Yeah, it didn't take all this extra work of us losing all of our HP and all of our resources if I had just hit the silenced a little bit sooner, and when it needed to happen. So it was a mistake on my part. I'm gonna queue up Arcanes, I think. I can't remember if I do. I don't think I won him here though. I had just enough money for Tranquils, so I'll go for the Tranquil route this time. I'm also finding that like Tranquils being 400 gold cheaper is super nice, and just running around carrying mangoes is super nice. Like you can help out your team too with it. It's not that expensive. So I'm gonna sit here. He healed me. That was super cool of him, and he arcaned me. So I was totally fine to give him more last hits. This is just a game where even though like I'm not playing the 4 position that I want to play, as long as this guy's being a nice and communicative and cooperative individual about it, I don't mind playing the role that I am. That was a situation where if I had watched a little bit more accurately, I would have been able to help that Slardar. But you'll see, this is what I'm talking about, the Ravage. It's not really a Ravage because it's level 3, but it's still like Urspirit's the only hero in the game that can do this. You have a stun, a silence, and a roll. A stun, a silence, and a slow. So I just hit casual 3-man stun. It's like 1.75 seconds, so it's not exactly a Ravage or anything along those lines. But, you know, it's a huge stun, and then I pull it back, and I get a huge silence off. It cost me 1 stone. I didn't get my ult. This is so stupid. I feel dumb showing this replay. I didn't get my ulti at 6, and I accidentally upgraded my grip. You should not do this. If you're watching this replay with no commentary, you're going to think, damn, dude, this guy got no ulti at 6. That must have been the build this game. That's not the build this game. I just fucked up. Don't do that. But we'll remedy it by not volunteering ourselves to fights and then saying, "Oh, don't worry, it didn't matter because I'm not in a fight anyways." So it ended up not mattering, even though it probably did matter. I kicked that creep because I always like range creeps. Range creeps are like 50 gold. So if you kick them, I mean, you could just buy a clarity with the gold that you made and get more mana back. It's only bad if you see a fight on the horizon where you need the mana right then and there. But I have a mango, so I'm not too concerned, and I don't have my ulti, so. I don't want to use my tranquil, so I drop my boots, but I ended up screwing up 2 last hits because I'm not too good at that. And then also like I got hit by a range creep, so it was all for naught. So I just like missed 2 creeps earlier because of it. Anyways, I pick up my tranquil boots because I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kick for this creep and hit him. Get my tranquil boots. Regents up to full. I literally just need to hit a slow and a silence here, or a slow and a stun here if we're gonna go for a kill on this guy. But he backs off. And you'll see I'm buying all the wards again. Again, I'm totally fine with being the bitch support. If nothing else, I just want to get my wand, and that's exactly what I did. I got my wand, I popped my mango. Before we look at this, I got my wand bought on the courier, and then I popped my mango before I got the wand because wand gives +4 attributes, but stick does not. So if you pop your mango before you get your wand, you get more regen out of it, and that's exactly what I did. I should have brought a TP with this as well, just as principle. You should pretty much always have a TP. Slardar gets his blink, he gets a stun off, that's super cool. The unfortunate element to this is, of course, that she has a refraction up, but Urspirit luckily owns the shit out of TA refraction charges. So he gets beat up a little bit. I accidentally dropped 2 stones here, I remember this very vividly. That was very unfortunate that I dropped 2 stones, and we'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I want to get a 2-man silence off here, and it's actually a 3-man because the Tinker got silenced there too, as you saw. I think I fucked up his rearm, which was really nice, but I only... Not having 2 stones here really tilts me. I placed a stone there because I was clicking on him. This is another thing you can do as Urspirit is... We'll pause. You can click on heroes and see the debuff duration approximated on heroes. So I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, okay, it lasts 6 seconds. It's almost at the halfway mark, so he's got 3 seconds left. So I just have to click on him, see the duration of the debuff, and then approximate. Like, click on him, see that it's almost half duration, and then adjust accordingly. Always try to veer on the side of caution for like cast animation or turn animations. Urspirit does have a turn animation of like 0.4, so it takes him a little bit longer than like say Batrider or Shadow Fiend to turn around. So you look at him, he's got like about 3 seconds left. Count to like 2.5. Be like 1, 2, drop a stone, or 1, 2, and then wait a half second and drop a stone. Either way, that's what I was trying to do there, but it didn't matter because the mistake there of dropping 2 stones on accident is ultimately what cost us this kill. I think he actually is going to blink in here, but he didn't need to do it if I had just gotten my shit off when I should have. I think we still kill him. I don't even think he gets anything out of this. I don't even think this guy uses this. It's just extra man work that didn't need to happen if I had been better about my stun management. It's not even stun management. I just accidentally pushed the button. Yeah, I guess he has to use the stun on him, which, I mean, if he didn't have to use a stun on the axe and we didn't have to dive this deep, maybe the Slider didn't have to die, which I don't even think he does die here, but maybe he does. If he dies, it's my fault. That's what I'm going to say. I think he does die, actually, because the Tinker's nearby. I don't know. This is an interesting situation to find ourselves in. We get just enough mana. I'm accidentally selected on the Slider there. Or on the... yeah. So I don't know. I guess I kind of got lucky into a situation where it probably didn't matter all that much, but still a mistake. And you're going to make a lot of those in your first 100 games as Zerspirit Spirit, believe me. Either way, I saw her working her way up here, so I was like, okay, she's probably trying to take her Ancients. Pop a Sentry down, because I figured she probably has a trap down there. And then also I wanted to de-ward the high ground, and we got it. Okay, this is really, really, really funny. This is just also like a quick fun fact, right? If there's enemy neutrals in the range and they're aggroed, you will aggro if you do an attack command. So you can't do an attack command. You have to specifically click on the ward. And that's what this Slider was fucking up. And because he fucked this up, the Axe felt the need to be like, oh, Herder, I should totally blink and call this guy when he's the only target there. I'll get a bunch of spins, right? When there's two supports around willing to help. So I you know, that's exactly what we do. We just kill this guy. And I don't know what he's doing, but it's just like a free kill. So that's super cool. So you could, in some ways, you could say that Slider fucking up his right clicks on the ward got him an extra kill, but that shouldn't have happened, honestly. This right here is a situation where like I'm super nervous because I can't really provide too much outside of a stun, so I have to hit a good stun. And as we can see, it's coming in, man. It does hit this Fen. It does connect, and I think it does save the Alchemist's life. So that's cool. Gets Armlet toggle off. That's unnecessary, but nonetheless, we do save that Alchemist's life. And that felt pretty good. Get a silence off on the guy. Got a stick charge here. Doesn't really matter too much. This game is looking like it's pretty much over. From here, it's just kind of snowballing the game. I kind of want to make sure that people understand how to snowball games when you're winning games as Zerspirit, but it's really nothing too special. It's, you know, it's exactly what you sound like, or it's exactly what it sounds like, I guess. You just walk around, hit your abilities, do things. It's nothing too special. I'm just working towards a Blink Dagger here. Tranquil's Blink into Eul's is kind of what I've been toying around with a lot recently, just because I saw a high MMR player do it. But it's not like the build every game. And as I mentioned earlier, I think recognizing the situations where you need to go for Arcane Boots into Mech into Greaves really quickly for heroes like Silencer, for heroes like Skywrath Mage, for heroes that have like a point click or long duration silence is really important. And it's like doubly good against Silencer because his bullshit that he puts on you that does damage, you can actually purge the damage it deals too. You can purge the entire debuff off of you by using your Guardian Greaves. So it prevents damage as well as preventing the silence. So it's super good against those heroes. And believe you me, I would not be going Tranquil's Blink Dagger against him if I was against him. But in this game, it didn't look like I needed a Guardian Greaves. At most, it helps against like, I don't know, Crystal Maiden and like I guess TA for her slow, but I don't need it for either of those heroes when you think about the effectiveness of being able to roll away. So I decided to go with this game because, again, Blink Dagger, having Blink is super good, and if you can get Tranquils to be able to man fight better, it's a lot good. It's really good as well. Being able to get up into people's faces and do things outside of just, hey, I'm here, I've got mana, and I can cast long-range abilities is super cool. That's kind of one of the reasons why I've been veering away from Aether Lens as a build option nowadays, is because really getting up into people's faces is so much better than doing that like artillery, here's a 2.25 second stun, it's coming in at 900 distance, it's super slow, whatever, and here's a silence, you know, like this hero's meant to get up in melee range and use his ulti, so that's the way I've been playing him a lot recently, and that's, I mean, I've always had that in the back of my head, but like it's kind of hard to put into practice. In some games, it'll be better than in others, and generally speaking, you need to assess that on a game-by-game basis. They had an Axe this game, and that's kind of like almost about the extent that of worry that I had, was like Axe coming in and Blink calling me. I guess Sven's stun can be kind of nerve-wracking as well, but it's very unlikely that he'll use that ability on me, and it's very unlikely that I'll be right next to my team getting hit by it. So it's just like that Axe call of like, if they're trying to turn a fight, they'll blink in as Axe and call like 3 of us, and I might be a part of that fiasco, and I would hate to die as a result, but that's like, if that's the only thing that I'm afraid of, I'm not too afraid overall. I get my Ebola on this guy, and I want to keep it going in case we end up fighting him again. I had a lot of stones left over, but this is probably just a waste of time and stonage. I probably sent him back to base though, which is good. Yeah, he's pretty low if nothing else. So any fight that happens, which I think one does, especially since he doesn't have his ulti as well. It's going to be kind of difficult for them to take. So he pops his bullshit, he gets repelled, Axis here, and you'll see the Sven's super low, or at least half health, right? Tell me he's half health. Tell me it was an all for nothing. Okay, he is low, right? He has his ulti again, but he is lower than the average Sven, and that's kind of because of my ulti. So I got my ulti off again. I kicked through, I hit the CM and the Sven because I was not trying to settle for just a one-man stun. I silenced through to 2 people. I think I ulted. I saw myself ulti, but I know that I ulted earlier, so I don't know if I actually ulted there. That's kind of weird. Either way, like I said, looking at the rest of this replay probably isn't just going to do us too much, because you can attribute a lot of this win as well to my team, right? My team didn't play the poorest as well, but I just did what I did what I could early game to try to secure a lead so that we can eventually capitalize on it and take advantage of our enemies being so behind in the mid to later stages of the game. And that's generally what you want to do on a hero like this, who does scale off, all things considered. When you factor in the aspect of like BKB countering you entirely, some heroes just like don't give a fuck about what you do in the later stages of the game. Some items, can shut you down. Like if you get CC'd in any way, it's unfortunate. An Orchid pretty much mandates that you buy something that can help you deal with the Orchid. Otherwise, you're just gonna not have a fun time for 5 seconds in a team fight. You're a hero that if you have no items and the enemy has no items, you're sitting pretty good. But once the enemy starts getting items, you need items to react to them. And it eventually has a point where they just have too many items where it's like, all right, the most I can do here is hit like a 2.25 second stun before they pop their BKB instantly and just don't care about what I'm going to do. So you'd rather end games earlier rather than later if you're carrying and snowballing under Spirit. But you don't need to do that if your team can hold up and pick up the slack for the later stages of the game. And in that case, all you want to do is gank for your team early and make sure that they have enough space and enough pressure is applied to the enemy such that you can secure a lead. And you'll learn that. Everybody learns that playing Earth Spirit. So, yep, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if this guy was too long, but if you made it through to the end, say Popsicle in the comment section below. That way I can know if these guides are effective or if I should just stick to making like 2-minute guides or whatever. Either way, I really appreciate you watching it to the end. I do hope that you learned something. If anything was informative at all throughout this guide, then this was a worthwhile venture in my book. I do have a tendency to ramble and maybe stumble over my own words a little bit more than others, and so maybe as a result of that, this was very uneventful and maybe just flat out boring for you to watch, and for that reason I apologize alone. But yeah, again, if you took anything from this, I really do. I do feel like this was a worthwhile venture, and I probably, for just the future remaining of patches, I do play Dota a lot less. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get other things in life and organized, and I see a lot less enjoyment of this game. Rather, I know that sounds like really morbid towards the prospects of this game, but I haven't been playing Dota as much as I used to, and as a result of that, what I'm trying to conclude to is I will probably not be updating this guide. If anybody wants to come back and edit this or revise this, they certainly can. But this is pretty much all I can dedicate to this hero, dude. Like, I've already made so many videos on Earth Spirit, and he's kind of like what I'm known for, if I'm known for anything, such that I'd rather branch out and play other heroes as well. He's super cool, and I love to pick him, and I'll probably still continue to pick him for the majority of my games. But this is really all I can contribute to Earth Spirit for the community. Like, there's only so many ultimate guides to Earth Spirit and Earth Spirit coaching excerpts that I can put on my YouTube before it just looks like I'm a fucking Earth Spirit spamming fanboy that has nothing or no talent in the game of Dota outside of picking Earth Spirit, and I don't want to be known just for that. So I do apologize if you're looking for more Earth Spirit content. If you are, I'm sure there's more resources that will become available, or maybe even currently are available, that can satiate your desire for more content relevant to this hero. But as for me, man, I'm done, man. I'm Earth Spirited out. I'll keep playing him on stream though. So if you do care for that, please go to my stream and visit it. But outside of that, all you YouTube buddies, I'll keep updating my, like, if I do a patch analysis and it affects Earth Spirit in some way, I'll be sure to write or mention that. But I don't know if I'm gonna make any more videos on this hero. So I love you all, and I will catch you all some other time when I decide to make a video next. But thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.